The date is January 21st, 2019. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in 8 days. Or 7, if you're like me, and you live in the East Coast. Today, 4 grown men have come together to talk about the series that fused Square Enix and Disney in an unholy combination that nobody ever thought would work.
No one
I'm
really asked for
Philiard.
it.
Alright, now Ryan, you go.
Hey, my name's Ryan, online handle, actorsAllusion. You've probably heard me in like a couple of games. I'm not going to say which ones. I'm also the... yeah, they're those kind of games. I'm also the voice of Edgeworth for the Let's Dub group, and I'm also in Phil's visual novel, What the Heart Wants, and I still owe him that line. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts since actually closer to college, because I never had a PS2 back then. Yeah.
All
Wow.
right, Paco.
All right. Hi, my name's Michael. Online, I go by PacoSlimee. I am a voice actor person. I am also in Phil's visual novel and in the Let's Dub project. I started playing Kingdom Hearts, I imagine, shortly after it came out, because I have a memory of walking into a Hollywood video, which, for people that are not aware, is essentially just a, I guess, lower rent Blockbuster. Going to the video game section, and multiple times when I was there, I would see the cover of this game that my small child brain could not comprehend. I just saw 3 anime characters sitting on a cliff, and next to them were Donald and Goofy. And this is burned into my mind because I remember holding that, and every single time I thought to myself, I'm going to pick this up. And then I wouldn't. So that went on for a few times until eventually I just outright bought it. I don't even remember if it was from the same place. I've been playing it off and on ever since. The entire series, not just that one.
And James.
My name is James O'Byrne. My online alias is James O'Byrne. I've done a lot of stuff, sound engineering, video editing, animation, directing. Just Google me if you really care. You probably don't. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts since I was 8. I remember vividly what year each game came out. First one I was 8, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 I was 12, and I was the ripe age for that kind of stuff. And I've waited 13 years for this third game, and I'm excited to talk about all the games and how a lot of them are great and some of them are really bad. And we'll talk about that now because I'm the last person to introduce.
And I realized I didn't properly introduce myself. I'm Christian. You probably know me by my online alias, Philiard. I make a visual novel. It's called What the Heart Wants. Look it up. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts since I was a very young babby because Kingdom Hearts 2 was one of the few games I owned on my PS2, and I probably beat that game like 10 times.
Yeah.
And I never had the right consoles to play the Kingdom Hearts games as they came out, so I played like all of them over the course of the past month. So I'm ready for this.
I suddenly realized I lied. I actually did play Kingdom Hearts back in like junior high and high school because that's when Chain of Memories came out and I had a Game Boy Advance.
Oh, lying on the internet.
Well, just to keep this a little organized, I figure we might as well take this in release order of the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
No, timeline. Birth by Sleep.
Release order, please.
And talk about those. So we can start with the very original Kingdom Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I replayed the original Kingdom Hearts very recently, and well, it's interesting. It's
Okay.
It's definitely the game where you can tell they were still getting their feet wet with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tried out a lot of things. Some of them worked. Some of them definitely did not.
Well, you know about the infamous origin story of how this all came to be, right? With the elevator. No?
Well, tell the story for our audience, James.
Okay, so Tetsuya Nomura and some guy in Disney, apparently they were all working in the same building in like Japan, like a unit of Square Enix and like a Disney unit. We're all working in the same building, and they happened to be on an elevator, and they were like, "Lol, what if we made a game with Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters? Yeah, what if?" 13 years later.
That'd be hilarious.
Here we are.
Yeah, but they probably said that in Japanese.
Sure.
Yeah. No, they were very fluent in English.
Wow, incredible.
So yeah, that's the kind of thing. Is a game like Kingdom Hearts has never been done before, and that's something you need to keep in mind. Like, nowadays we're very used to crossovers, especially with the new Smash Brothers coming out and Cloud's in it, Joker from Persona 5's in it, Sonic the Hedgehog, all that kind of stuff. But crossovers like that were like super weird, and people were like really off-put by it, and understandably so. But then it turned out to be a huge success, as this was like Tetsuya Nomura's passion project. Like, he loved Disney and all that kind of stuff. So it's very important, even if you think the game doesn't hold up that well, it's very important to what it did in its franchise and the future of the gaming industry or whatever.
I think it's interesting because Kingdom Hearts 1, the ways it doesn't hold up really don't have a lot to do with the story. They're all mostly mechanical in that really Kingdom Hearts doesn't work that well combining JRPG action combat with platformery exploration stuff.
The platforming I'm sorry for interrupting, but yeah, the platforming to me is especially what I think I disliked the most when I was a kid.
It's kind of garbage.
The platforming in Kingdom Hearts 1 is terrible. I think we can all agree on that.
Deep jungle.
I was thinking of that very first race between Sora and Riku. I hate that.
God.
Nothing important comes of it, so there's no reason to win it. But my my child brain would not allow.
But you don't get to name the first gummy ship.
I know, right?
And you know what's really bad? This is before games really figured out how to do camera controls, so it was also even worse with the awful camera controls that were immediately fixed in Kingdom Hearts 2, which kind of shows how much they learned in just 4 years. But yeah.
But what I like about the first Kingdom Hearts 1, especially compared to some of the later games, even though I love some of the later games, is that I was just sort of compiling my thoughts on all these games. I don't know if because most of the games are much more the classic Disney movies, or it's the fact that Sora is so young, or what, but it's a infinitely more whimsical game than a lot of the later ones. It's got this incredible fairy tale feel where even though, Ansem comes out of nowhere in the end and he's your typical JRPG antagonist with this.
Oh, by the way, we're spoiling every single Kingdom Hearts game if anyone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
but we will not be talking in detail about anything in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
So
I don't know anything about that one, so it's probably fine.
That's fine.
But, I mean, up until that point, Maleficent's been the big bad, and even though he kind of comes out of nowhere, he still fits this very sort of fairy tale archetype of this, evil sorcerer that's just, there to be evil. Which is something like, even though the combat is and the platforming is like, just that tone of the first game really, really sets it apart and makes it special.
It's really charming.
That ties into like one of the big advantages I think KH1's story has over a lot of the future games, is that the Disney worlds matter. KH2 and a lot of the other games have that issue where it's like, okay, Disney, why am I even here? But in KH1, they have this whole setup around like this evil league of Disney villains that actually makes it feel like those Disney worlds matter.
Yeah, and KH2, I'm not going to talk about the game yet, but like it retcons a lot of stuff that happens in the first game with the Disney worlds. Like Ursula just comes back in KH2. Okay.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yeah, they never really explain that. But one thing about KH1 again is like, I noticed playing that game, like it feels so much like weightier than the other Kingdom Hearts games.
You mean Sora? Or
yeah, Sora is he weighs more than the Rock Titan. Like,
you're talking about controls.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. It's very heavy. In future games, he feels a lot more nimble and light, and I think that's just because those were like limitations. They only had so much to work with in the first game, I guess.
Yeah, because like I was watching a KH1 speed run at Games Done Quick, and I noticed that like they do a lot of like short hop air combos in that speed run. Like, I'm serious. Like, watch their run through of like the first Parasite Cage fight. They're talking about how like he's doing like frame perfect jumps so that he can do a combo and then immediately land back on the ground. It's insane.
Yeah.
It just goes to show like KH1 Sora is so just weighty and he falls so quick. It's a really big contrast to the other games.
Those are some heavy jumps.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a big part of the reason why the platforming feels like ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this because it's a trope, but like, you know, that's the what? Do you know what I'm gonna say?
I know what you're gonna say.
You know what? I want you to guess. Do it.
You're gonna say something about the floaty combat.
Oh no. I was gonna say Kingdom Hearts 1 is. I'm gonna say this. Kingdom Hearts 1 is the most like Dark Souls like in terms of it's a lot. The character's a lot heavier. The dodging is a lot more precise. You can't just, I mean, like there's the glide, but the glide in Kingdom Hearts 1 is super slow. That's about it. Everything else is like, it has to be very timed. It has to be timed very well. There's no like super like jump off the walls maneuvers in like Dream Drop Distance, and in Kingdom Hearts 2, even then you had like the super dash from Wisdom Form and all that stuff. The Sephiroth fight is one of the best fights in any video game I've played, really, in that it's very skill oriented out of anything else in the game. And another thing I love about Kingdom Hearts in most of the games is that it can either be, you can either make it the easiest game in the world for yourself, or you can make it one of the hardest games ever, like doing Critical Level 1.
There's a lot of options.
I played KH1 on Proud. I would not recommend you do that. God.
Well, for like
game,
the optional bosses, you mean?
No,
Really?
The main story. I got my ass beat so hard by so many of the bosses on Proud. Like Dragon Maleficent, Ansem Riku were definitely two of the biggest ones. I could not fucking beat Ansem Riku. I just cheesed it by stocking my inventory with elixirs and spamming Strike Raid. So that's how I beat Ansem Riku. It was a nightmare.
I think I've played, I guess, most of the games on the... I don't, off the top of my head, remember what the difficulty levels are called. I remember beginner, proud, and critical, but I don't remember what standard is. Standard. There you go.
Mix versions add like 2 more difficulties. There's like super baby mode, and then there's critical mode.
Yeah, so I've typically played them all on standard. I think a little while back I tried playing a couple of them on proud. I don't think I beat any of them, but that's not necessarily because I couldn't. It was more just whenever you decide to yourself, I'm going to play all these games in order. That never ends up happening. You get burnt out real fast.
Well, you shouldn't have done that.
I know. That was on me.
I actually managed to do it, but I had to take a break in between Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix and Birth by Sleep Final Mix.
You just beat the best game. It's like, well, I need to get ready.
I did it all in like a few weeks, and
I applaud you.
Look, when you're a college student and you're on break and you have literally nothing to do, it's like, all right, we're just gonna sit around and play Kingdom Hearts all day. Yeah, but okay. Look, we gotta talk about the worst part of KH1. Worse than the platforming, worse than anything else, the fucking gummy ship missions.
I think the hatred for those is overstated.
The gummy ship in KH1 is so boring.
It is boring.
Okay, yeah,
but like I'm not gonna say I enjoy them or anything, but I think it's functional, which is I guess fine.
You know what's
I
funny?
don't know.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint with the gummy ship missions in the first one. They're just dull, especially when you get a really, really good gummy ship. You can just clear through everything, and it's just...
like once you get the warp stuff, you don't even do.
Thank God.
If you had to travel every single time,
yes, then I would absolutely hate it.
It would have been absolute garbage. To be honest, it would have ruined the game if you had to do that. But you know what's funny? I had a few months ago, I had my girlfriend like play through the entire Kingdom Hearts, and she said her favorite parts were the gummy ship sections. She preferred doing that over anything else.
Really?
I was like, I don't know. I was a little disappointed. Unless there's, I mean, with like the gummy ships, it's. You know, that's another thing I want to talk about with Kingdom Hearts 2, obviously, but I'll wait till we get to that.
Yeah.
is there anything else we want to talk about this game? Because there's something I wanted to bring up that I feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 managed better than a lot of the other titles.
I do want to say, like, I think KH1 did have some, like, definitely some pretty interesting ideas. Like, I thought the, like, MP gauge and how that whole thing works was interesting, not necessarily balanced.
Yeah,
but,
I can tell why they changed it in the other ones.
Yeah, but, like, it's a cool idea, even if it didn't work out so great.
My only last thoughts are, screw the fact that if you don't choose the right items, you don't get guard until like level 50.
Oh yeah.
Oh, one other thing.
Yeah.
I think the boss that made me the most frustrating in KH1 was fucking the second Ansem on Destiny Islands, where you have to fight a dark side before him, because if you die there, you have to fight the dark side again before you can fight Ansem again, and it takes so fucking long. I died on that boss like 10 times.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Maybe I just don't remember my first time playing it, but I feel like I just don't have a lot of trouble fighting that kind of boss.
Well, because you probably played on standard like a bitch.
No,
right?
I play every game on the hardest difficulty.
Shut up, James.
Okay.
Oh, and one other thing I thought was interesting was, like, I didn't really mess around with it, but at the beginning of the game, you could pick how fast you level.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The really funny thing there is the faster you level the first few levels, the slower you level for the rest of the game. So it's actually slightly more it's more efficient to pick the slow leveling path, because once you get past, I don't know what the threshold is, but it's
level 50.
Yeah.
I think they really streamlined this kind of mechanic for Kingdom Hearts 2, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being a factor in 2. I didn't know it was a factor in 1 at all until I watched a speed run. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, in KH1, the items you pick at the beginning of the game they give you stuff that you potentially cannot get with the other items. I think if you pick Shield, you get an extra item slot, and if you pick Magic, you get 2 additional things of MP. Which is really important because KH1 does not have a magic stat. How much damage and how effective your magic is actually based on how much max MP you have.
Isn't it if you're doing the hardest difficulty, you want to pick the shield?
Yeah. I think
it's between shield and staff. I think staff. I pick staff. I think it's really important just because of the max MP.
I think the quote unquote optimized run is pick shield, sacrifice sword. I think.
Really?
I might be wrong.
Well, I know at AGDQ they picked staff. Just because it gives you stronger magic early on, which is really important.
Well, yeah, like if you know what you're doing, then you probably don't want shield as your optimal. But if you're just like, this is my first critical run, I'm gonna be safe. Give me the shield.
KH1 is, I think, like one of the only games, or at least like the only like main title that doesn't have a critical difficulty. It only has like standard, platinum, beginner.
Okay.
But anyway, I think that's about enough about KH1.
Wait!
James had something he wanted to say.
Yeah, there's something I wanted to bring up about KH1. Is that a lot of the subtlety... I feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 is the most subtle out of all the other games, in that there's this one scene I want to talk about. And so, the first time you go to the Hollow Bastion, and you climb up the waterfall and stuff, and then you see Riku again after he was in that dumb whale. He reveals that he was supposed to be the chosen one. He was supposed to be the Keyblade Master, and then he says himself, Sora was the delivery boy. I love that the big twist of Kingdom Hearts 1 is that you're not the hero in the story. In any other circumstances, you were supposed to play as Riku, if that makes sense, because Riku is better than you at everything on the island. He's better at the combat. Like it's actually pretty hard to fight him. It's pretty hard to beat him at the obstacle course race. Like in all circumstances, he was supposed to be the main character, but because of what Xehanort does, what Ansem does, he's always like messing around with shit. He's always like deconstructing what is the usual hero's story. He comes in, influences Riku, makes Riku give in to the darkness, and then the universe is like, oh shit, well, who do we give the universe weapon to? This guy that's right next to him. He has a good heart, so they give it to Sora. And then, with Sora realizing friendship is powerful and shit, then the universe is like, okay, he's the real Keyblade master, and then he gets a Keyblade back and all that stuff. But I love how they did that, and I feel like it's the most subtle and like the most effective out of almost really any other scene you get out of the franchise.
It's definitely a good scene. It potentially runs the risk of being too subtle, because I've seen people say that it was, what was it, Birth by Sleep that revealed Riku was the thing. But like, yeah, no, it's said in the first one, right there in the scene.
I think it's pretty clear since Riku just straight up takes the Keyblade from Sora.
But I think partially that people might have just seen that as just being arrogant and a braggart rather than telling the truth, which it was. So well, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I like the first game because it's a deconstruction of the typical hero's journey. That's what I like about it.
Anyway,
okay.
Should we move on to a bad video game now?
What'd you say?
You take that back, you asshole.
Wait, which one? This is where it gets a bit confusing. Which one?
The next in the release order.
Chain of Memories was the next one in release order.
Yeah, but there's two of them.
I mean...
Does it matter, James?
Well, kind of.
They're both Chain of Memories.
I think the gameplay is not different enough to warrant them being considered two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. Except
the cutscenes are better in the remake, but that's because they had like actual cutscenes.
Yeah,
and the remake has like one extra boss fight, I think, against Zexion.
2 extra boss fights, 1 extra phase for Marluxia, and one actual boss fight for Zexion. But other than that, I mean, we can basically denote specifically if we're talking about something that happens in one, not the other.
Yeah, I've only played the remake, so
yeah. And by the way, we're going to assume that anyone listening to this podcast like knows what happens in all the games, and that we're not going to explain. I don't think we're going to give a synopsis of each game.
We'd be here forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Be here forever.
There's a video online where it's a Kingdom Hearts story lecture, and it's like a 3.5-hour video.
Oh my god!
Are you talking about Best Guy Ever?
I think so.
This guy with like he has like a marker board, and he's like
and he actually there's actually a classroom of people in there. It's like an actual lecture.
You can explain the plots quicker than that.
Yeah, there's
you
a few
can, but he was going for understanding rather than getting it out quick.
There's a few good like 20 or 30-minute video summaries, or you can just watch Junkies.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you need. I don't know. Here's the thing. It's like trying to explain all of the Harry Potter books in like 5 minutes. You can't do it. It's gonna take a while. So I don't know why people are like, it's too complex, it's too confusing.
Yeah,
there's 8 games.
Not to get too off topic from what we were going to talk about, but like I do feel like people are like, all right, I could just skip all the games, like go right into Kingdom Hearts 3, right? I just need to watch this 30-minute summary. But it's like Kingdom Hearts is really a series you need to experience.
I feel like that's a very Japanese. I don't know if it's a Japanese thing, but I feel it's a very Japanese thing in terms of games, and where you'll have 1, 2, and 3. But you'll also have all of these spin-offs and ancillary material that you have to have read to understand the plot, because
right, and that's the problem, is that the other stuff in Kingdom Hearts is not like ancillary material. It's like main game shit, but people don't realize that, partly because they don't do the research, but it's also definitely kind of Square's fault because all the numbered game bullshit.
Yeah. Who would have thought that the Game Boy version was plot important? I know for a fact when I read when I was really young, I had a subscription to a gaming magazine. And I can specifically remember reading when they were doing their thing on Chain of Memories, they were going by the images they had, which were of places you went to in the first game. So they said, so it's beginning to look like this is less of a sequel and more of a port. It wasn't clear from any of the even promotional materials. It was a completely different thing.
Yeah. But speaking of that, like we started talking about Chain of Memories because like I think that's one of the game's biggest problems is like coming off of that right after playing KH1, you're basically playing like through the exact same environments, the exact same stories for like 80% of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a much smaller game. They had to find a way to fill it up with just stuff you've done before, except Tarzan because copyright.
James, I object.
I forgot Tarzan wasn't in Chain of Memories.
Yeah, and so will the rest of the franchise forever.
I object on the basis that They didn't have to just fill it up with recycled bullshit. They could have done something a little original with the Disney World.
Well, they added Twilight Town and
all right, you're in Twilight Town for like 10 seconds.
That is honestly, and I think it's one of the reasons why I think I have fonder memories of Chain of Memories than a lot of other people, because Chain of Memories is actually my first Kingdom Hearts game. So I wasn't playing it coming right off of Kingdom Hearts 1. So the repetition didn't hit me as bad. And it's weird because even when either early this year or late last year when I started playing through the whole series again, the repetition didn't hit me as bad again, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because I have more tolerance for bullshit. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I get it.
James.
No, I mean, I was gonna be like, well, I feel like it's one of those games where you just need to watch all the cutscenes, but
or you can just look at fucking Riku mode, where they don't even have cutscenes for the Disney worlds.
Yeah,
the Riku mode. Yeah, you know what? Even though the Riku mode's very streamlined because they give you limited deck depending on what world you're in, I actually feel like I enjoyed that the most.
Oh, okay. So I want to talk about the gameplay in Chain of Memories because I really feel like Sora mode and Riku mode have the opposite problems. Where Sora mode starts off way too slow. They do not give you enough options with cards or with your slates. But I had a lot of fun with that game by the end of it because I had a lot more options. I had a lot more cards, and I could do a lot more slates and pull off a lot of different stuff in combat. The game just takes way too long to get to that point. But Riku mode is the opposite problem, where the game starts you off with all your stuff, and that's it. You're just stuck with the same options throughout the entire course of the game.
Well, and they change it up depending on what world you're in, the deck. But
yeah, but usually it's not a significant enough of a difference that I notice it outside the ones that are like disproportionately hard, like in Wonderland.
Or Atlantica.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. Because I just got bored of Riku's story mode at the end. By the end of the game, I just started skipping all the regular Heartless battles and rushing to the end of the world. I finished Riku mode at like level 30, because I was just skipping everything.
Well, yeah, I think it's like... But I think they did that because I think they were like, okay, you just beat Sora's mode, which has the very customizable deck. Here's Riku's mode, which is very streamlined, and we give you pre-built deck because we don't want you to feel like, oh, I gotta start with, this weak deck again and build it up and go through all the worlds again. They're like, okay, no, it's just go through each world, just kill every boss, here's a deck, just go, because they know that you just want to know what happens in the story at this point. You're kind of, I guess they figure you're kind of sick of the gameplay at this point.
Yeah, and I like I said, the dark mode and the duels, that's all interesting. It's a cool idea, and I enjoyed playing around with it at first, but by the end I was just like, am I done yet?
Am I dead yet?
I will say, as a difference between the original Chain of Memories and Rechain of Memories, the 3D remake, God, did I love the duel. God, did I love the addition of duel mode during Riku's storyline, because it added stuff and it made some of the more difficult bosses a little more palatable, because it at least gave you some way of breaking through, like frickin' Ursula.
I remember, well, like the fact that, little tangent, the fact that you like play as Riku, for everyone who has played the previous game, there's only been one, that like I get to play as the Edgelord. Oh!
Yeah, that's the childhood dream.
I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will shit on Chain of Memories gameplay endlessly, but I actually have a decent amount of fondness for its story.
Like,
I do think the story's pretty good, yeah.
It's really weird because I will forever be a defendant of Chain of Memories gameplay because I actually really like it. I really liked the deck building. I really liked the sort of Twitch gameplay in terms of trying to break your enemy's cards. I actually really, really liked that when I was playing back through it as part of the 1.5 plus 2.5 collection. It ended up being really, really satisfying for me. And I mean, I guess I can understand, because a lot of it is just like, you're essentially playing something that should be really more of a turn-based thing, given how much you're having to sort of be cognizant of things, while also doing an action RPG, which gets pretty mind screwy. But just from my personal perspective, I really, really enjoyed how that just kept me sort of very, very quick on my feet as far as my mind was concerned.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Tetsuya Nomura, he wanted each game to have its own unique gameplay style. Like the Kingdom Hearts 1, there's never been a game like Kingdom Hearts 1 before. The way they did that with the real-time combat and stuff. And so when they had, and I don't know why they had to make a game for every console, like the Game Boy Advance, but you know, when they did
really
that, they're
didn't
like,
have to.
when they did that, they're like, okay, we can't do the first game again because that'll be impossible. Although I guess maybe you could argue they could have done the real-time combat, but it'd be side-scrolling. I don't know. It seems weird. I think they just wanted to try something by, you know.
I feel like the animations are there, so I think it was more of a creative choice rather than a limitation thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is the only game out of all the games where the combat ties into the story because of the cards and stuff.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was really interesting. So I think they were trying to be super creative with that. And honestly, I appreciate taking creative risks like that than just making the same game again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure, I appreciate it, but I don't like the card system. Is my thing. It has basically it's just I'm very impatient, so I don't like sorting through all these cards. I don't like having to learn a completely new system of gameplay after coming off of a previous game. And in my situation, I didn't play Chain of Memories before 2 because I did not know it was plot important like many other people. So I had to go back and I know, right? All the stuff I read at the time suggested it was a port. So I'm like, all right, cool. I can just skip this one. Oh, how foolish I was. So yeah, I went back and played it after playing Kingdom Hearts 2. So I had played.
Like,
2 is much more similar to 1 than I think Chain of Memories is similar to 1. Yeah. So I was used to a certain gameplay style way more than I think most people would have been going from 1 to Chain of Memories. So to me, the gap just seemed way wider than it would have been otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to talk a little about Chain Memory's story, because, hang on, got a mouthful of food.
Why are you eating during the podcast?
Look, you guys were talking, I thought I could take a quick bite out of this. It didn't work out that well.
I actually got through all 3 of my Oreos before we started, so.
Oh my god.
Okay, so, one thing, I love the stuff they did with Sora and Naminé in Chain of Memories.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love that scene where Donald and Goofy are just like, Sora, you're going a little crazy over this girl you couldn't even remember the name of 5 minutes ago, and Sora is just not having it.
He is losing his absolute shit.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Like,
I love the...
Go ahead, Phil.
I love the voice acting in that game. I know there's definitely a little weirdness in the fact that Haley Joel Osment sounds completely different, even though it's been like 5 seconds since KH1.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that aspect of Chain of Memories I really like.
I think that's the most we see of any negative side of Sora in any of the Kingdom Hearts games. Really.
Yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, that definitely seems to be the most, I don't know, anguish, upset I've seen him in anything.
Well, I mean, I'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 2 later. I've been looking everywhere for you.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll get there. Get there.
I have to cut Chain of Memories English voice acting a little bit of slack because I get the feeling that it was done on budget.
Oh yeah. I've heard that most of the games will redo the lip flaps. I don't think they did that for Rechain of Memories.
They did not.
When I played Rechain of Memories, I'm thinking about it now. Was the sound a little bit off with the voiceover?
Well, that might have just been because they were matching lip flaps rather than having the lip flaps rematched
Morphing the
to
lip
them.
flaps.
Yeah.
I love that they did that. Just a quick note. I love that they did that in the Kingdom Hearts games where they they went back in the code and they're like, let's just adjust it to English. Like, that's awesome.
Actually, funny thing, my boyfriend either today or yesterday was looking it up, and apparently in some of the games they were actually doing both lip flaps at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mean it was like half and half?
Yeah. Like
Okay,
I guess the English voice acting was going on more or less contemporaneously with the Japanese voice acting, so they were just doing both animations at the same time.
Yeah, I can tell like a little voice actor story. I was listening to a an interview with Bill Farmer, who is the voice actor for Goofy, and they were talking a little about the Kingdom Hearts stuff, and he was talking about how, like, when they record that, he has to, like, try to imitate the Japanese Goofy, who in turn is imitating his performance as Goofy.
What about Donald? Have you heard Donald's Japanese? Fucking Donald speaking Japanese is the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Look out!
I love these games.
Is there anything else you want to bring up? Because again,
I love Larxene. She's such a bitch.
Yes,
I'm glad she's coming back.
That's what we were going to talk about Game Hearts 3.
It's in the publicity materials, James.
I
Knock
thought
it
we were
off.
going to talk about that either.
I continue to be surprised at how weird, I guess, the casting is in these games. There seems to be there's no theme at all. There's no, we're all getting prelay cartoon people, or we're getting anime people. It's like, let's get this guy from, I don't know, a soap opera. Yeah, let's get this guy from NSYNC. Let's get this guy from a soap opera, Seventh Heaven. Let's go get.
I think Vexen had the most prominent voice actor, right?
Derek Stephen Prince.
Yeah.
A lot of the organization people are like, I guess, frequent actual voice actors. You have like
and
Axel's
and like
Quentin Flynn, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and most of Xehanort's incarnations are too. Like Billy Zane was Ansem in the first game, but ever since he's been taken over by Richard Epcar, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Why did that happen again?
I imagine he just didn't want to come back.
No. The prevailing theory, and there's no way of proving it, is shortly after the release, sometime in between the release of, I guess, Kingdom Hearts 1 and either Chain of Memories or Kingdom Hearts 2, Billy Zane was in this movie, and it was sort of this militaristic movie that was taking a very negative look at the United States military, I think concerning the actions during the War on Terror, and I think Disney just was like, nope. And just let Billy Zane go and didn't bring him back, and that's how we ended up with Richard Epcar as Ansem.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and like Xemnas is played by Paul St. Peter, and young Xehanort's played by Ben Diskin.
Yeah.
There's a fun story I read a long time ago about Paul St. Peter saying he was contacted for the role on accident.
Yeah, because
so
what was that?
Kingdom Hearts does stunt casting rather than holding auditions.
Yeah.
So they just, whoever's in charge of casting's like, I think this person would be good for the role. And I don't know the specifics because I can't find that interview anywhere. But
Yeah, this guy's pretty good with his shots in the dark.
Paul St. Peter was like, they contacted him because they thought he played someone else. And then when they realized, he didn't play that character. Well, do you want to audition anyway?
According to Paul St. Peter, he got the role of Xemnas because the casting director thought he played Vicious from Cowboy Bebop, who shares the voice with Xemnas in the Japanese version.
Oh.
Okay.
So, yeah, the KH1 definitely was like the biggest thing where it's like just random ass celebrity casting. Like, yeah, Mandy Moore as Aerith.
Well, that sort of made sense given that a lot of the sort of celebrity casting was in some way related to Disney. Like,
well, yeah.
Especially
Ryan, you cannot justify the NSYNC Kai as Sephiroth. I'm sorry.
No, I can't.
No, not that. That one is.
I like how
God
they
bless.
got a lot of the well, not a lot. You can tell that some of them were replaced. Like, you know, they couldn't get Robin Williams back for the genie. But you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of Disney characters came back, especially in Kingdom Hearts 2. They got like almost everybody back in that one.
Yeah, I was surprised going through the voice actor list because most of the Disney characters actually retain their original voice actors, like Tarzan and Aladdin,
Like
Jack Skellington,
Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
Catherine
right.
Beaumont.
And you could. It sounds like she recorded it in her bathroom. No offense to her, but I don't know. Like, it sounded weird. Her audio. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like any Disney character voice is under some kind of contract where unless they just don't have time, they have to come back and record for them.
Well, actually, from what I hear, all the people like involved like all the Disney voice actors basically have a right of first refusal, where they have to come to them and be like, "Hey, you want to be in Kingdom Hearts?" And so,
The fuck is a Kingdom Hearts? And
So
then they have to explain it. Okay, so there's this
Well, you
keyblade.
see
and
lightness
there's-
and darkness and doors and
They
hearts.
show the best guy ever video. They're like, all right, so he's...
How good are you with
Yeah.
metaphysical concepts?
so yeah, I don't think there's too much more to say about it.
Yeah, we can.
There's one more thing I wanted to
Much
say, because this will also tie into Kingdom Hearts 2. Organization 13 is probably the best villain group we have ever gotten in a video game, right?
Strong contenders. I don't know if I'd say the greatest, but I really, really like Organization 13.
Yeah.
The outfit they share is amazing. Each has a very unique like hairstyle and like voice, and like their weapons are the way they're designed. And I love how half of them are just like very like stoic. They're very deadpan. They're very just like, because they don't have emotions. And then some of them put on a fake personality because it gives them even a tiny semblance of feelings that they used to have, which gives them a lot more depth. Like I love that. That's great.
Shout out to Reaper as Marluxia.
Yeah, and Organization 13 definitely has some very strong voice acting in
yeah.
the English version. Like some of the best in the series.
And the fact that you can fight all of them and all the fights are like really cool. That's amazing.
And on that same note, it really bugs me when people blame the bad or like writing they don't like in Kingdom Hearts on the voice acting.
Yeah.
Like in Donkey's E3 video where he's like, "You have this horrible, horrible fucking voice acting." It's like, nah, dude, you just don't like the writing. The voice acting's good more often than not. It's just the writing is so fucking cheesy.
They're doing the best they possibly can.
Here's the thing about Kingdom Hearts. It's maybe you'll disagree. I think the story is, hear me out. I think the story is great and the characters are great. It's just that Nomura or whoever writing this dialogue, they're like they like don't know what to do. They're like an 8-year-old. They're like, like they're like the dialogue is garbage, and that's its biggest drawback.
I think we can actually go into this more when we get into Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think the big problem is that it's just too, like, I will never exactly say that it's garbage because it's not. There's worse writing you could have. But
well, yeah, there could be worse, but
I think it's too emotionally earnest for its own good.
Okay.
Perhaps.
I don't know. I like that Kingdom Hearts always kind of plays itself straight. I think there's definitely moments where it kind of acknowledges some of its weirder stuff, but I think a lot of things nowadays try too much to undermine themselves with like poking and winking at their audience.
Yeah.
And I appreciate Kingdom Hearts just like straightforwardness, even if it does sometimes go a little too far for its own good.
Well, the thing is, the best writing comes in when the main villain has a monologue. Darkness is the heart's true essence. What the fuck? Where was this the rest of the game?
Oh, okay. I was going to mention this when we were talking about Kingdom Hearts 1, but I forgot. Can you guys explain to me what the fuck was up with the Kingdom Hearts at the end of the game?
I don't think any of these
my
games
God.
I can explain to you what Kingdom Hearts is.
Okay.
But
So
like,
no.
what was up with that? Oh, Kingdom Hearts is the door. No, it's the door to darkness. Then where the fuck was Kingdom Hearts?
Okay, Phil. Kingdom Hearts is the heart of the universe. Okay.
Yes, I know.
Okay,
I know
okay.
what Kingdom Hearts itself is.
And if you access it, then you get the ultimate power. You become a god or some shit. I don't know. They're pretty vague with
Not
that.
clear.
So the thing is, there's no definitive way to access Kingdom Hearts. That's why all these villains do it like, okay, let's open up the door to darkness, because I believe that darkness is the heart's true essence. Ansem says it himself. If I open up the door to darkness, that'll lead me to Kingdom Hearts, because he believes that the universe itself inside is darkness. But then Sora's like, no, it's light. And then it kills him. It blows him up. So that's the whole point of it.
but that
Shucks,
was
it
the
wasn't-
door to darkness. Why was there light there?
Well, no, because it turns out, they explained this before, even in the deepest depths of darkness, there's a tiny little bit of light. So that's the whole point. And Kingdom Hearts 2, it's like, oh, well, how about I just take everyone's hearts, put them in a big moon, that'll give me the heart of the universe. That didn't work either. The thing is, all these villains are trying to figure out how to do it. It doesn't work. That's why Xehanort's eventually like, fuck it, I'll just use a stupid Keyblade, that'll open it up, or whatever.
Let's get to Kingdom Hearts 2
All right, I'm sorry.
Yes, we'll have to We're still so early in the timeline.
I'm sorry.
James,
that's generally what it is.
You're actually blowing my mind right
I'm
now.
sorry.
Anyway, Kingdom Hearts 2.
It's the best game. It's the best game. Please tell me you don't disagree with me.
I don't disagree with you, but
I mean, best game and favorite game, say, are technically two different things. I would say that Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably the best game, but it's not my personal favorite.
I basically put it on the same pedestal as Birth by Sleep.
Really?
I love Kingdom Hearts 2.
I do love Kingdom Hearts 2, though.
I play it like every year. I play through the whole thing like every year.
And I do think Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, thank God we finally got it over here in America, is fucking phenomenal.
I was a big fucking weeb, and I imported that way back in the day. And I played it on a modded PS2.
What?
We are in the presence of royalty.
I had no idea what to do. All I did was just look up a bunch of YouTube videos of people playing it.
Oh, yeah.
Paco, you're showing your power level. So hard right now.
Okay. My modded PS2 is sitting on my desk right now.
Oh, my.
I remember being like a little baby child and watching these videos and being so confused as to why I couldn't fight the big scary armored man with a cape.
Yes.
The secret was you had to get a Swap Magic DVD card switcher shit. And then you had to... Then you had to have the actual disc itself. You swap that shit out by modding it to be a flip-top PS2, so that way you could have the tray being opened at the same time that you're playing the game, so you could swap the discs.
Oh my god. But no,
it's also how you play burned games, but nobody tells you that.
I think mechanically speaking, Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably the most satisfying so far.
Oh yeah.
I would make a personal argument that I just love the style change system in Birth by Sleep too much to not say that it's pretty satisfying, but Birth by Sleep has its own issues. But yeah, definitely, mechanically speaking, Kingdom Hearts 2 is super, super satisfying to play.
Yes. Kingdom Hearts 2 has the best progression out of any of the games. And I'll explain that later, but what were you going to say?
I think a big part of that is definitely like I think out of any of the games, KH2 probably has the biggest emphasis on just Sora's melee combos. Like, you have so many of these different like combo modifiers and finishers, and I don't know, they all feel good.
Okay, speaking of combo modifiers, the one thing I fucking hate about Kingdom Hearts 2 is the fact that you have to finish every boss off with either a magic attack or a combo finisher.
Yeah.
That is a little...
I don't know why they did that. One reason that they did that, it's kind of a reason, is because that way you couldn't kill the boss with Mickey.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the only thing I can think of.
No, they totally did it so either you couldn't kill him with Mickey or you couldn't just sit back and let your party members do it.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it. I feel like they could have just programmed the boss to just not take damage from any other source on the last hit unless it was Sora or something. I don't know.
Killing a boss with a reaction command is the most satisfying shit ever.
Can we talk about the reaction commands? Because I am even back when Kingdom Hearts was even back when Kingdom Hearts 2 was a new-ish game, I still thought it was so bullshit how everyone was like, "Oh, you just press triangle to win." No, you cannot do that.
You mash X and triangle to win, Ryan.
Sometimes you use the D-pad.
Sometimes you press square to dodge. And guess what? Man, who would have thought? Let me play Dark Souls. Oh, okay. I just mash the attack button. I dodge sometimes.
Attack button.
Fucking these arguments bullshit.
Could you dodge in Vanilla KH2?
Yes, dodge roll?
Yeah. You actually depending. No. Actually, I don't think even depending on your path, you would always get dodge roll before you got guard.
Yeah, because in KH2, you're not locked out of anything based on your choices or the game. It just depends on what skills you get as you level up.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. According to the wiki, no, dodge roll was not in Vanilla KH2.
Yeah, it was in Final Mix, and you got it by getting the OG Sora drive form, which was weird.
Limit form.
Yeah.
You get it by leveling limit.
Well, fuck me. My only playing Final Mix has fucked my knowledge up.
No, I love that the game you start out as like KH1 Sora would fight. He seems like a bit heavier, his combos, his swings are a lot slower. But then as you go through the game, Sora's like a fucking speed demon. He like zipping around all this shit and doing all these like weird combos. I love that they did that. That's why I think it's the best progression.
That's one of the cool things about switching from Sora to from Roxas to Sora. Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Is that Roxas like feels kind of clunkier than Sora? Like definitely in terms of his melee combo, he's just like not as fluid as Sora was, and that kind of gives you like that instant sense of just being more powerful, even though nothing has really changed. Like I thought that was cool, and in general, I didn't really mind the Roxas prologue too much. Just playing through the game again.
I think it's another one of those things where the hate is weird, because like when I first played it, I was fascinated because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, if it's the first time, it's like wow. But then if you replay the game, then yeah, I get it. It's like
yeah, it's long, but like I liked this character who I didn't know who he was at the time because
I
liked
Roxas is a great character.
I liked all his friends. I liked the world, Twilight Town. I remember I just loved that opening segment, and me going on YouTube. I don't even know if it would have been YouTube. It would have been just maybe talking with kids at the playground.
It's gone.
Just like, oh, it's
our
the worst
weed
part.
is gone.
So, oh, you're so bad. You gotta run around forever, and you just don't even do any of the fighting. It's like, oh.
Twilight Town gets bonus points for being one of the only 2 worlds in the entirety of the KH series to actually have fucking NPCs.
Right?
That Traverse Town in KH1 and Twilight Town in KH2 are the only ones that have like non-story relevant NPCs walking around.
Yeah, I'm hoping that KH3 has like
they've already
like there's a what is it?
Yeah, they've already shown in trailers that there's actually going to be like like in the city of Kingdom of Corona, there's crowds. That's the
yeah, like in Frozen.
Yeah, in the Tangled world.
Tangled.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's
yeah, like there's actual NPC crowds. I don't know if they're
I think
all
I've
interactable.
seen in ads. I think I've seen just. I know there's that one where they're doing that dancing mini game. You can just see people around. I know that one off the top of my head. But
at the very least, like because it's a console game, at least the cutscenes in KH2 have crowds when they're relevant.
Yeah.
Like, in the Land of Dragons, you have all those dudes bowing. It's so fucking weird when you're playing like Birth by Sleep or Dream Drop Distance, and it's like, look at these huge crowds, and it's like 3 people because they're the only story.
Or if you're in the Coliseum, the crowd is going wild. Cut to absolutely nobody.
I just like did Nomura not want to put like little cutouts of just like these little JPEG people going or whatever?
I mean, to be fair, the crowds don't exist in any of the Kingdom Hearts games in the Olympus Coliseum, if I'm not mistaken.
KH2 doesn't even have those. It's so weird because you don't even go in the Coliseum in KH2. Why didn't they have those in cutscenes? You don't do anything in the Coliseum in that game.
You do enter in the first time visit. You do that pot mini game, and then it gets destroyed, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Well, even still.
Yeah.
Even still. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, like when replaying these games, I noticed that too. It feels very. You start to notice it, and probably because the game has aged a bit, and it's not something you really notice. But now you're like, with all the groundbreaking stuff we've gotten used to, you play it, and you're like, this is really empty. These are just walls and like a couple blocks and like this stand where you can buy fruit in Agrabah.
I love KH2 to death, but I will admit it definitely suffers a lot from like the whole filler aspect, both in its story and in its worlds.
The levels are just too big. They don't need to be that big.
I skip everything. On the second, here's the thing: the second visits feel like what the game should have been because it's like Land of Dragons. You meet Zigbar, and I fucking love Zigbar. You fucking like you get Zaldin, second visit to Beauty and the Beast. You fight him, and you kill him there, which I was like, whoa, that never happened before in this game.
Yeah. I think it was Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of suffers in that they were trying to continue the Disney crossover aspect, so they felt that they had to sort of do the plots of the games.
Yeah.
But that meant that the part of the Disney worlds that actually tied into the meta plot of Kingdom Hearts 2 had to be saved for these second visits, which God did it. I mean, once again, I have a higher tolerance for bullshit for most people, but it still does kind of make the back half of the game drag a little bit.
Yeah, it's either you fight the movie villain or you fight a Heartless, And it's like the rest of the time until you fight that final boss, you're just doing the plot of the movie. I hate Pride Land so fucking much.
Yeah, that's if you took out like the Coliseum and Agrabah and Halloween Town and Pride Lands, like literally nothing would change.
Actually, Halloween Town and to an extent Beast's Castle are really the only Disney worlds that I sort of give a pass, because at least in terms of Halloween Town, you're actually getting something of a sequel to everything that happened in the first game there. And with Beast's Castle, I fucking love Beauty and the Beast, so there's my huge groundbreaking defense for that world.
Well, yeah, and then Beast was in your party in the first game, so that's also like kind of a sequel to what you were saying before.
And so it's a similar case, Ryan. I know it's completely useless from a story standpoint. I know it doesn't appeal to everybody, but I fucking love Pride Lands.
It's just you go both times you visit. You're on Pride Rock. All right, go to the Oasis, talk to Simba, come back, fight Scar. Second time you visit, you're on Pride Rock. Go to the Oasis, talk to Simba, come back, fight a Heartless. Who made this?
Fight a Heartless who is the representation of all of Scar's evil. That giant Heartless
awesome,
was
that
Scar.
Heartless is pretty neat. I do think it's a
the
neat
boss
looking
fights
boss.
are fucking fantastic. That's another note,
the KH2 boss fights are I don't know, they're like potentially best in the entire series.
The final boss in Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Zemnis, like that's one of the best boss fights I've ever played, and that game is 13 years old.
Fight. It's
yeah,
such
but
a
like
long fight. I'm not complaining. I'm just
Can I give... Okay, I did all the data battles and all, like, the bonus content in the game, like, a few days before we recorded this. Can I just give a quick shout out to my boy Riku and his cure potion?
Yes.
I played the game on Critical, because, like, everybody says that's why you gotta play it. And, like, KH2, fun game on Critical, but holy shit, Final Zemnis is a very tough fight in the data battles.
Yeah, all of the data battles are crazy.
God, those...
Yeah, but I think the ones I struggled on the most were probably Roxas, Zaldin, and Zemnis. The only reason why Zemnis didn't take me like 100 more tries is because Riku was throwing out those cure potions left and right.
It's been too long. It's really been too long for me to remember which data battles gave me trouble. I know Lingering Will gave me problems.
Oh yeah. He probably took me as many tries as all of the fucking data battles.
The Lingering Will fight is the thing that convinced me, because I didn't play Final Mix when it came out because I didn't know it was a thing, but. Few years after, in the age of YouTube and everyone uploading the secret movies and speculating what in the world was going on,
Kingdom Hearts AMVs.
Those were the ones. When I saw a video of someone doing the Lingering Will fight, and I'm like, "What is that? Is that in the game?" And that's how I got Final Mix. So, yeah, it's those extra boss fights in Final Mix are nuts. And the first time you go through the Cavern of Remembrance, especially at that time when I didn't know what that was, I was like, that was so cool.
Yeah, it's a throwback to like Hollow Bastion. It's a throwback to like really dungeon like things that you would experience in Kingdom Hearts 1. And I love that they did that, because that's for the more hardcore players, because at the very end they're the hardest boss fights in the game. That's what I mean, like all these games have a thing for everybody of all skill levels.
Yeah.
Also, crap. I forget. I'll think about it later.
But yeah.
Good talk.
Going into Kingdom Hearts 2, just back to the story, like, I do like the story of Kingdom Hearts 2, but it's also sort of the turning point from the sort of fairy tale whimsy you got in Kingdom Hearts 1 to the much more introspective, metaphysical stuff that the rest of the series is made of, and which also is, even though I like it, I can understand why it's pretty off-putting to a lot of people who play the games. Like, you've got all this stuff about, like, one of my favorite parts of the Kingdom Hearts series is the fact that the Heartless are disembodied hearts, and the Nobodies are disheartened bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Disembodied bodies. Wait. My head caved in, sorry.
Yeah, KH2 is definitely a game that... It's really the first one that suffers from the problem of, like... It went all Metal Gear-esque, where it's like, all right, you gotta make a sequel, and Tetsuya Nomura was just like, fuck.
Well, no, here's the thing.
All right, everything's more complicated.
Well, here's the thing. Tetsuya Nomura always, when he made the game, he always made the game with the next game planned ahead in the story.
But Cage 2, it just went off the fucking rails.
Well,
like, half of that goddamn game is just setting up for Birth by Sleep and all that shit.
Which is wild that far ahead we're talking about. Just
and days.
And days too. Just that's insane.
Here's the thing. Kingdom Hearts 2, except for that very last scene, when they get the bottle, it ends, like, the game's over, and doesn't it kind of feel like when that happened, like, there really didn't need to be, like, any more games after that?
After you beat Xemnas and everything's over, you could have conceivably ended the series there, and it actually would have been completely satisfying.
A memory hit me from the depths of my soul just now.
From my heart.
After I completed Kingdom Hearts 2, I had a friend in my neighborhood who brought his older cousin over. And this was my first experience with someone telling the "my uncle works at blank" story. So he told me my uncle works at Sony, me not knowing any better. Oh, really? And it said Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna have Nickelodeon characters, and it's gonna be this big crossover. And I was like, oh, he's like, you go to this Hey Arnold world, and Hey Arnold fights people with a skateboard. And when I hear this, I'm like, holy shit. He's like, yeah, I can get you a copy.
Swings around his giant afro.
Yeah, he's all, so if you can just, I'll take all of your action figures and I get you an advanced copy. And I bought that shit hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, honey.
Oh, no, dude.
And me, young, whatever how old I was at the time, I just give him a box full of this stuff, and he just fucking bounces. And I haven't heard from him since.
Whoever you are out there, just know we have tools, and we're coming for you.
I remember I found like a fake printout of, it was like in Kingdom Hearts 3, there's Sora, there's Mickey with a Keyblade, there's Sora with a Keyblade, and then here's Mario with a Keyblade.
It's like, what I'm talking about maybe is more like, maybe it's more of a Final Mix thing, but you still, like, in Cage 2, you still get the full context of, like, what's up with Roxas and Axel, and what's up with in that scene where Xemnas is just sitting around talking to a disembodied piece of armor.
Oh yeah, that is definitely more of a Final Mix 2 thing, which I think, did Final Mix 2 come out like right in the middle of development for Birth by Sleep, or did it come out after Birth by Sleep had come out?
Was the Birth by Sleep like was the secret movie for that in Cage 2 vanilla?
Yes, but Cage 2, it was just 3 armored people walking up, grabbing a Keyblade, they see something in the distance. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, it's that huge fucking epic awesome fight where they fight Xehanort and everything's blown up and shit, and then this guy looks like Roxas gets frozen, everyone's like, what the fuck? It's all that, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix was released in Japan in 2007.
Okay, so yeah, it was way, way, way before Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep came out.
Yeah.
Actually, on the topic of Roxas and Ventus, I want to give a shout out to my boy Jesse McCartney.
Right?
Who you think at first it's just like that typical Kingdom Hearts stunt casting with like the fucking teen pop star, but that dude is actually like a really fucking good voice actor.
The casting director for Kingdom Hearts is great. Whoever this guy or girl is, I don't know who it is.
Except for Aerith in Cage 2.
Well, that was a mistake, but
yeah. Yeah, although I think out of all the sort of young sort of stars that they brought into the Kingdom Hearts franchise, I think Jesse McCartney's the only one who's really gone on into a pretty good, decent career as a voice actor.
I think so.
He's Nightwing and Young Justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that kind of thing where it's like, I wish the game industry took more creative risks like this, where it's like, if I told you, all right, I'm going to make a game with Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters, and it's going to star Haley Joel Osment and Jesse McCartney, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
And rightfully so.
But they did it. Like, this is how things work. This is how things become franchises. They're like, let's try this. There's not enough let's try this anymore. Oh.
I also appreciate like how the voice actors for, if you watch interviews or anything with them, you can tell that the voice actors for Kingdom Hearts have a huge passion for it.
Yeah.
Even though they have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah.
You play the games. No.
Yeah, because like I read an interview with Ben Diskin where people like have this assumption that voice actors are like the masters on the things they voice in, but he's like, I do not know a fucking thing about Kingdom Hearts. It's just like people need to understand that. Like, I'm sure like Haley Joel Osment does not have a dick or a fuck of an idea of what is going on in Kingdom Hearts, but he still loves it. He still does it.
I think he just watches all the cutscenes. That's what I do. If I didn't have time to play like video games, and I just wasn't interested, but I was cast as the main character, I'd just watch all the cutscenes so I could hear my performance onto the character, but I wouldn't play any of the games.
James, you wanted to make a comment about Sora and Anguish, and the infamous scene from The World That Never Was.
Well, here's the thing, Sora. Here's the thing. I'm actually kind of defending that scene a little bit because they're like, "Oh, why didn't he hug Kairi? He didn't do anything and stuff." And it's like, okay, Sora to an extent knew Kairi was safe. He got her back on the island. But then, Axel kidnapped her and stuff, and now she was, like, in this peril and stuff. And it was like, oh, phew, man, you're safe. That's awesome. Riku, he went to hell. Riku pretty much went through the door of hell. Like, he closed it on him, and he was like, fuck, I hope my best friend's okay. And then he's just walking around the universe trying to find this guy, literally the universe. He's like, I don't know where he is. I've asked a fucking female lioness, whatever, have you seen Riku? And she's like, what the fuck's a Riku? Because I'm a lion, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he never sees him at all. And then he finally finds him, and he's like, I don't know what the hell happened to you. You were probably dead. You're a big, sexy, tan man now. I'm gonna hold your hand, and it's like, you're here, you're real. And like, it's the sense of relief. Like, I'd fucking cry too if I was in that situation. It's the sense of relief. It's not that, oh, he's super gay for Riku, whatever, even though you can argue that he is, but whatever. Regardless of that, it's the sense of relief that someone you just sent to hell, essentially, came back, and they're here, they're alive, and, that's emotional. I get it.
Oh, yeah, I think the scene would work better if for most of that game he didn't seem like typical happy-go-lucky, I don't have a care in the world kind of guy. Like, just a couple of scenes.
Well, that's kind of what he is.
That is, but that's what makes the scene so disproportionately, like, whiplash. It's like, whoa, where did all this come from? You didn't seem all that upset before.
Is it gay to cry because your best friend that got sent to hell is alive?
Nah.
I go into it that a lot of the times when Sora's very positive, it's somewhat, not most, somewhat of a front, because if he's just like, oh man, my friend's in hell or whatever, then it's just like, well, this is fucking boring. You're just a fucking sad sack.
Yeah, I don't want to play this game. I'm not asking for the guy to. I'm not asking for him to be the Riku circa KH1 or anything. I didn't get the feeling it was a front just because it didn't seem presented that way.
Well, but yeah, I know, because again, the dialogue is garbage.
Yeah, it's just that I think that the bad dialogue adds to the whole whiplash effect. It just seems so weird and right out of nowhere, especially when the scene before, well, not right before, but you know what I mean, referencing the Kairi is just so much, hey, thumbs up. Cool.
Although
good.
the one sort of nice
actually, Kairi hugged him.
That's true.
Actually,
I know.
That doesn't really justify it.
I know. Yeah.
Just a moment earlier on where the front broke a little bit was when we, I think, it's right after we first meet Xemnas, and I think Sykes mentions that they've got Kairi. That's one of the only other times during the game that I think we really see his facade break a little bit when he just
that scene. He is very confrontational with them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, Sora can get really pissed off, and I like that. And it's just like, that's the thing. He feels like he has to have an optimistic attitude, especially when they're in the stupid Disney worlds, because he feels like if he's not doing that, then no one else is gonna. And, like, he knows that there needs to be positivity, there needs to be optimism. Otherwise, what are we fighting for?
What are we fighting for?
Yeah. So that's it. That's my whole spiel about it.
His mom's probably dead too, right? Like, we're just not gonna get into that ever.
That's gonna be either the epilogue or the secret movie that isn't on disc for Kingdom
Like, I just hope like there's a scene.
We're finally gonna see Sora's mom. That's the bit that they didn't put on the disc.
Like, he just walks back into his house and then his mom walks in and he just goes, "Oh fuck, I forgot. Oh yeah."
It's gonna be that meme where it's like, Sora, mom, Sora, mom, Sora, mom, Sora, get over here. Where have you been?
Oh god, yeah. I fucking love KH2.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. That secret ending movie is fucking awesome, and I'm glad because that just brings up way more questions, and then everyone had fucking theories on goddamn forums and shit. And now we get to the portable games.
Yay, the long list of portable games.
Yay, 358 over 2 days.
Actually, before we get into that, I have a list of questions.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to throw out one real quick because KH2 is often considered like the most balanced Kingdom Hearts game on higher difficulties. I'm curious.
Okay.
Assuming critical is available from the very beginning, what difficulty are you guys going to play KH3 on your first playthrough?
Proud.
Yeah, I don't proud, and then critical on multiple playthroughs because the thing is, I actually don't think critical is balanced for a first-time player. Like it's a weird kind of meta when you consider all this stuff.
I think doesn't critical basically locks you at level 1, but it gives you certain boosts that make you stronger. But it also
you can choose to be level 1 on critical.
Thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So KH level 1 is kind of weird, and but critical is just basically enemies deal more damage. I think Sora deals more damage. You get half the HP boosts over the course of the game, so you have a much smaller health bar, and you gain EXP slightly slower.
I think in my first playthrough, will go on standard just to know what the deal is with everything. And then if I feel the need to go back and do a second playthrough, like afterwards, I'll bump it up.
I'll probably play on Proud the first time, just make it a little easier to unlock the secret ending.
Yep, that's why I'm doing it.
And I hope the third game does this. Again, going into like how I feel like the Kingdom Hearts games have the perfect balance of difficulty, is that even if you're on critical, even if you grind as much as you can, especially when you're doing level 1, it's all about being good at the real-time combat, being good at dodging. That's where it becomes a little bit Dark Souls-like. Even if you max yourself out, if you can't dodge most attacks, you're fucked.
Because like even on Proud, it's gonna be some bullshit like complete the journal and get 1,000,000 points on all mini games. I'm just gonna be like, fuck.
Well, I like that. If you prove yourself by being really good at the game, the requirements become less and less. That's another thing.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, if you're playing on baby beginner mode, fuck you. You don't get the secret ending.
Yeah, but that's fine on like normal and Proud. But even on Cage to critical, you still have to get the gold crown in order to unlock the secret ending.
Well, yeah,
and just like,
or you can just look it up.
It feels like a little much.
Google foo.
But we can move on to days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think this is the worst game. What do you guys think?
Really?
I don't.
I disagree.
It's the one I dislike the most, but I don't know if it's the worst.
Well, isn't that the same? I guess it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
All right.
It's close because, I think the reason why it's not the worst is because it still has some cool story bits.
You know, I should have clarified the gameplay is the worst. I guess that's what I meant. And that's why I'm glad they just made it cutscenes in the re-release. It's like, don't give me the fucking slots and the.
Well, the panels are cool.
Well, actually, I really, really like the I will probably be the only one in this podcast defending in any way Days Encoded. Just getting that out there. I
like Days. I liked it.
Oh, cool. One other person.
Days at least has better gameplay. Shit. I mean, Coded has better gameplay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I do really, really like the panel system for leveling up. Once again, I think it goes back to why I kind of like Chain of Memories. Just I really like that puzzle element. Plus, it makes it really, really easy to, if you want to, do a low-level playthrough. But the core physical gameplay is...
I really, really dislike the mission format, at least for this series, because it takes revisiting worlds, which was already a minor complaint of the series.
Again.
And then now, congrats, you're going to Agrabah for the 50th time this playthrough.
Exactly. No Agrabah in Kingdom Hearts 3, please. Just fucking chuck it
I'm
into a
done with
dumpster.
Agrabah. I'm done.
I'm done with Agrabah. I'm done with Atlantica. I'm done with... What?
Hey. KH1 era Agrabah has some fucking bopping music.
That is true.
Yeah.
I cannot deny
I'm tired of
this.
hearing it for the 5th time.
God.
Yeah.
What was it?
It's solely the set. I could get past the gameplay, but it was just to me it was just so repetitive that my first time playing through I didn't complete it. I let it sit there until I felt like I needed to know what the plot deals were later. So
I forced myself through it, which is the worst kind of game.
I understand why Days took that mission structure, because it was on a portable system.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a portable system that was especially designed for people to just fold up and take on short trips. I understand why the mission system was there. It just didn't work, especially given the fact that, and I'm going to go into the story now, the fact that for 75% of the game there's nothing fucking happening.
Yeah. I do like, I'm going to go back to the story too. I like that they give you missions. I like that. It's like, because the Organization 13 was so fucking cool. It's like, I get to be in the Organization 13.
That's probably the worst part for me, is that I was really excited. I was like, oh. And then in multiplayer, you get to play as the other organization members and Goofy and Donald for some reason.
That was the best part.
And that was cool.
And Sora
you get to play as all
and
of them.
Sora and Mickey, yeah.
Well, no, I like that they give you missions. The problem is most of the missions fucking suck and are garbage. No, if the missions were fun, then it would have been cool, right?
One stands out to me as I really didn't like. It was one in Halloween Town, and it involved this giant worm monster thing. And I just...
Oh my God.
Leech worm.
The grave... oh God, what is it?
I don't remember the name.
Grave Leech.
Grave Leech.
I remember
Fucking
just
Grave Leech.
spending so much
I think
time
it's the
on
Lich.
that. It might be.
that thing?
That was the moment where I stopped playing the game altogether.
I know.
Originally. I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
No, the
Oh,
bosses,
it was-
the bosses suck. They're the worst bosses in the whole franchise.
It was called Leech Grave.
Leech
Grave,
Grave, there we go.
Okay. It's like,
That Ruler of the Sky and
I know, Ruler of the Sky. Fuck.
that one was really annoying. I actually quite liked Infernal Engine. I thought the design of that boss was really cool.
Oh my god, I
from
just
Kingdom-
remembered Infernal Engine existed.
Yeah.
How can you go from Kingdom Hearts 2 bosses to this?
Yeah.
What happened?
don't know. I think the Shion fights at the end are the closest the boss is getting to being good, but that's about it.
Well, it's because they're like, well, fuck, I guess we have to make this one good. I guess we have to.
So good that they added a cutscene for it in the 2.5 re-release on PS4.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Thank you, Tetsuya Nomura, for actually giving us that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the gameplay of Days kind of sucks. I mean, everybody will agree on that. But the strength of that game really is in its story and its characters.
And the post game where you play as all the organization members.
Yeah.
That shit's awesome.
Like,
They have an
I came away
ultimate
from that,
attack.
Yeah, the limit breaks.
came away from that
Yeah,
game.
limit break, yeah.
But then similarly, I think a problem I have with the game's story is that I wish I had a little bit more time to spend with the non-main trio organization members.
Yeah.
Like, you get one mission with all the Chains guys, and then they're gone.
No, I get it. It's because it doesn't matter, you know?
And then Luxord and Demix are just kind of there for most of the game. And Zigbar does some stuff near the end, and then Syx, he's always there.
This game had a purpose. It's with Axel, Roxas, and Shion, and they keep the focus on that, and I get that. I understand that. And I think that was the right move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember being blown away hearing, I think it was Axel's real name for the first time.
Lee!
I was
Yes,
like, what the
yes.
that was not what I thought his name was gonna be.
I was like, wait, Leia? No, it's Lee.
Yeah, it's Lee.
Look,
know.
more than anything, I hope in KH3, Roxas and Axel and Shion finally get to go to the beach.
I thought you were going to say something else. Because they are children.
They finally get ice cream for the 70,000th time.
Oh, and one more thing about Days is that it has the perfect ice cream crunch sound effect.
I do remember that, yeah.
Fun fact, I tried seesaw ice cream. I hate it.
Every description I've ever heard of it, people don't seem to like it.
What is the flavor like?
Salty, but sweet.
I
Can
was
you
gonna say
fucking
that.
listen, Ryan?
I don't have to put up with this, James. I really don't.
Nomura apparently loves the ice cream. That's kind of the well, they needed something to bond over, and he loves the ice cream. That's kind of it, apparently.
What I like about what I like about Days, and it kind of shares this a little bit with Chain of Memories, it's almost this weird deconstruction of the fanficky trope of like the original character that's just suddenly introduced into the world.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these games are deconstruction stuff. The first game's deconstruction. Hear the story. Exactly what you said. I wanted to bring this up. Exactly what you said.
Yeah, so like Shion is this character who's just introduced out of nowhere as this super special 14th Organization 13 member, and her existence literally starts making it impossible to bring Sora back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we later find out that there was another purpose behind like that whole project, but we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I do admit it's a little bullshit that it's like, well, the reason I'm not mentioned in the second game is because everyone will forget about me. Bye.
Yeah, that's kind of like because Days and fucking Chain of Memories just kind of retcon like whole things about him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like not retcon, it's just like it would kind of break the story if the characters knew about it. So fuck it, no more Shion, no more hassle.
Which I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Kingdom Hearts 2, but there's a lot of conversation going on, and I forgot.
Bring it up real quick.
What I appreciate about Chain of Memories is that thematically, it's appropriate that if people skipped it and went straight on to Kingdom Hearts 2, they have no idea what's going on.
It's true.
It works within the canon, is that, oh, your memory was wiped. Oops.
Yeah.
I guess that's why you don't know what's going on.
I like, does 3 Fight 8 over 2 really explain anything? Because I'm wondering if
yes, it does.
It further develops, characters, but what is it playing in terms of the big plot story thing?
The only real things are kind of little tidbits. You know what? I'm just gonna go into this now, and like we later find out that this whole puppet project that Shion came out of was probably related to the fact that Xehanort wanted to create copies of himself.
That's really good. Holy shit.
Yeah, we have that really quick moment late in the game where since Shion reflects what people expect, sort of what people are going to see, we have that moment where Braig sees Ventus, which
that was fucking awesome.
That's a good scene. That is a good scene.
That was so good.
Which of course doesn't get explained into why he knows who this is until Birth by Sleep. And gosh, is there anything? I guess you could kind of make a point, and I'm really stretching here, that the way that Axel, Shion, and Roxas became so close is kind of hinting to that revelation in Dream Drop Distance that nobodies could in fact grow hearts and get their emotions back, because someone who doesn't have emotions would not, in the case of Roxas, go on this fucking rampage at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's because Sora's heart is so big doki doki.
And Shion's probably, I imagine she's going to play some sort of role in Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean,
I imagine they're going to bring back nearly everybody.
Yeah, that they've been hinting at that a lot. I'm not sure what bullshit they're going to come up for this, but Sora can time travel now. Let's grab everybody.
And also, okay, one thing I wanted to talk about with Days is, like, apparently when people are playing that game, they just fucking turn their brains off. Like, I was reading this thing, like, here's my reaction to the Kingdom Hearts series as a first-time player. This guy, like, he was like, oh, I don't understand why Shion had that whole thing with her hood being on and then off in one of the cutscenes. I guess it was just a production error in poor quality control.
Oh my god.
I'm like, are you a fucking idiot?
You know why, right? Can you explain it, Phil?
Because Shion's perception, like how people perceive her, is different from person to person. And we were seeing a transition from how Roxas sees her to how Axel sees her.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are a fucking idiot. And also, with how people talk about that scene near the end, or like, oh, who else am I supposed to eat ice cream with? Yes, I understand it's dumb. Like, it's kind of like a weird line. But the entire point of Roxas's character in that game is that, like, he's a very, like, emotionally, he's effectively a newborn. He has no concept of, like, friendship and love and joy and, like, all those things he associates just with eating ice cream on the clock tower in Twilight Town with Axel and Shion.
You fucking get it,
like,
Phil.
Thank you for bringing that up, Phil, because if you didn't say that, I was going to.
Because, like, and that entire thing is, like, that is Roxas's only concept of friendship and love and joy, and that is really his only way to express the sadness he feels about Shion going away.
Yeah.
And it's like, people talk about that, like, oh, Roxas, you dumbass. Like, yeah, like, that's the point.
Like, that's what I mean when I say before. I feel like a lot of people who are like, "This story's dumb. Who cares? It's stupid." And it's like, fucking, you're not getting the subtlety and the ingenious of Nomura's writing.
I think some of it is. I think some of it is people just don't want to like the concept.
Yeah.
It's just I've seen plenty of people saying Toei takes itself so seriously for stupid crossover between Disney and Final Fantasy, and what does that even mean? It's. I don't think if people understood that would change anything. I think it's still a case of if people don't want to like it, they're going to find any reason not to like it.
Interesting thing. If you just genuinely just don't like it, like I'm just not into this, then that's fine. I get that, especially because again, the dialogue a lot of the time is garbage. But the thing is, there's a difference between I don't like it and it's just I don't get it. Yeah, and it's like if you don't get it, and it's like, well, then I feel like I just have to show you this podcast. I don't know.
The story may be convoluted, but I don't think it's confusing because there's 50-minute cutscenes explaining everyone's motivation all the time.
Yeah. And again, it's like good if you try and explain all the books of a big series like Harry Potter or whatever. Yeah. Like you can't explain that easily. Experience yourself, and if you don't want to, that's fine. But then don't be like, it's too confusing. You didn't fucking play all the games. That's like if you. And again, that's not your fault if you didn't want to do that, but that's like if there's a movie playing, you gotta pee real bad, and so you go to leave and you pee, and you come back, and then you missed a big moment, and now it's confusing, and it's like, okay, it's not your fault because you had to go pee, I get that, but it's not the movie's fault that you left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Days, I feel like, is a game that definitely suffers the most from the fact that viewers are goldfish, and they forget everything in like 5 seconds.
I think we may have talked enough about Days.
Yeah.
No! Keep going!
Okay, one last thing for Days before we move off of it. So, if any Kingdom Hearts fans out there don't understand the title and think it's just another crazy title, because, I mean, we got Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, it does have an explanation.
Probably the only one that does, I think.
Yeah. It's basically the top number is basically the total amount of days, including the summer vacation afterwards. I can't remember.
No, not including.
Not including summer vacation. It's basically the total days that Roxas is around during the game, and the divided by 2 section is because basically Shion's existence is infringing on his, so they're 2 halves of a whole, that being Sora, that are both experiencing the same days. So there you go. There's your one and only explainable title in the Kingdom Hearts series. Yeah.
It's still a word salad title.
The
Kingdom Hearts 2 is called Kingdom Hearts 2 because it's the second one, allegedly. Allegedly. I think people have pointed out that it's not even the second. If you factor in everything, there's no circumstances in which Kingdom Hearts 2 is the second.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is technically Kingdom Hearts 3. Right?
Oh, so Kingdom Hearts 3 actually came out 13 years ago. We all just missed it.
No, yeah, Ryan, it's 358 because the last 7 days are Roxas' summer vacation, which means it'd become a year since Sora got put to sleep, and that's the time they needed to put the memories back, and that's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, so now we can talk about Birth by Sleep.
I love this game so much.
Why is it called Birth by Sleep since we're talking about titles?
Because the story doesn't start until all of the protagonists are fucking donezo.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I worded it dumbly, but that's essentially what
donezo.
Yeah, that's essentially what it means.
All right, let's move on to Recoded.
All right,
nothing else to say about this game.
I think it's actually pretty uneventful. I think
I remember everyone thought this was going to be Kingdom Hearts 3. Remember?
That was the speculation. That's what everyone thought the secret movie at the end of 2 meant.
I was like, whoa! I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be like a completely different game. Like you play as these characters, like Sora, because like Sora's journey is done, and I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna do like a different story now. It's going to be kind of like Final Fantasy, where it's like a different universe, or at the very least, you play as different people. Turns out, not really the case.
The one theory that I saw back when it was just vanilla KH2, not Final Mix, was that was Sora, Riku, and Kairi, and it's cool armors. Because the heights worked out, man. and they'll have weird keyblades. But no, that's
And
not
then you
it.
saw the final mix version.
And then Final Mix
Yeah.
has the other
Where
ending, and you're like,
you
oh
see
no, this is
Aqua
This is-
Guys,
Best. What's up?
I want to say real quick while we're on the subject, because you can have 5 party members in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I didn't know that.
Shut up, James. What if your party for the last world is Sora, Riku, Kairi, Donald, and Goofy?
That'd be
That'd be nice.
stupid.
that'd be cool. That'd
No.
I
be
would love
I-
that.
I will turn off the
I-
game and not complete it.
I would not. Anyway,
Birth by Sleep. When I said earlier Kingdom Hearts 2 was probably the best one, but another one was my favorite. This is my favorite one.
Same here.
It's
I feel like my experience of Birth by Sleep was tainted because some rat bastard told me to play the game on critical difficulty.
I don't know.
No.
That was this is the one where I have heard playing it on higher difficulties actually makes it a worse experience.
no, exactly.
It
That's
really
the thing.
does. It does.
Birth by
It does.
Sleep, I think, out of any other game, really, is the most unbalanced out of all the other games.
It's because on critical, pretty much your only option, only 4 of the commands are viable. That's Thunder Surge, Mind Square, Curaga, and one other. I can't even remember.
Probably another of the mind commands.
Yeah.
Recode and DDD have the same problem. It's just use these 4 moves and you win.
So my only experience playing Birth by Sleep is I've only ever played it on standard, and I think I tried it on proud once. So I only experienced like base game, and I personally like this story the most out of all of them, just because I like me a good tragedy, and this is a pretty solid tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like that. It's definitely a bit of a different change of pace from what we usually get. So yeah.
I played on Proud, and this is the one I've played most recently, so I have the fondest recollections of it. The big problem with Birth by Sleep is that 2 of the final bosses are just evil. Like,
Well, I mean, yeah,
Terra's-
they're the
Holy
bad guys,
shit.
right?
like
They want to
Terra's
destroy their
Xehanort
universe.
and Vanitas.
Terra's Xehanort
Fuck.
is just god damn. You basically have to have a renewal block to even have a chance at beating him without tearing your hair out. And Vanitas isn't quite as bad as Terra Xehanort, but his final phase in the last battle is all sorts of kind of what's the word? Unintuitive. There we go.
So, let me explain this shit. If you're fighting Vanitas, I found a foolproof strategy. Okay, here's your fucking strategy guide. He's gonna start with his shot lock, counter with your own shot lock, or with Dark Spiral.
Struggle.
Counter with one of those 2. It doesn't matter. After that, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait for Vanitas to go into like his standard like neutral position, right, where he has his Keyblade resting by his side. Wait for that, then do Dark Splicer. What's going to happen is either you're going to counter his Dark Splicer, which will throw you into this QuickTime event, or he'll do nothing, which is good because that means you get to keep what you've already earned for the style change. If he does Dark Spiral, counter with your own Dark Spiral. If he does the Shot Lock, counter with your own Shot Lock. Do Dark Splicer after every one of his attacks. Just wait for him to rest his Keyblade at his side. When he's in neutral, do that. Just keep doing that until you get the finisher. Get as close to him as you can, lock on, do the finisher, and pray to God because for some fucking reason, they made it so that finisher can miss!
It's easy. Or just cast Balloon over and over. It's not a game.
That's Dream Drop Disc.
I know.
Yeah, this excuse you, this one is the mine one.
Oh yeah.
And also, pre Birth by Sleep final mix, the extra boss Mysterious Figure was legitimately broken. He had a combo that could kill you through second chance and once more. Like they actually nerfed that when final mix happened because it was bullshit.
Also,
Yeah, I didn't even bother with the post-game shit.
Fuck you, Square, for just not having online servers for the multiplayer Birth by Sleep. Just fuck you, I guess. Because why? That would have been awesome. Ugh.
I assume you mean the re-release one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
it
so I
had
figured.
it had a thing where you could fucking beat Keyblade Master with your friend.
First
Yeah.
time I
Get
played
rid
it
of
on
that.
when I played it on PSP the first time, I didn't have any other friends with it, so
Oh, honey.
Aw, neither did, don't worry, neither did I.
the battle
Oh,
arena was
honeys.
just going around in a very ugly orange Roxas.
Ugh.
Yeah. I wish
Yeah.
that color changing system was a little better.
Yeah.
You know what'd be cool is that if the colors you picked stayed in the cutscenes, but that's just a nitpick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My,
my thing is this isn't my favorite because it's the gameplay is good. I think the gameplay is fine. Mine is purely I think this is one of the better ones at developing individual characters.
Yes.
And that's only because they got 3 whole stories, 4-ish.
But conversely, I think Birth by Sleep, I don't really feel the bond between Terra and Aqua and Venice. It's like,
What?
they're always like, we're such great friends, but it's like,
Well, that's the
Are
whole
you?
thing. They show all of it through flashbacks, which may or may not have been a good idea in hindsight.
Mm.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to build that relationship more, the idea of immediately splitting all of them up was perhaps counterintuitive.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like, they spend more time like telling you that they're friends than actually showing you.
The only reason that doesn't bother me as much is only because their individual character development isn't really tied to each other, which is weird. Like, Ventus's character development is entirely tied to Xehanort and Vanitas.
Well, I kind of get
Terra's is entirely whatever, so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
that. Like, no, I get why they did this because it's like they have to separate them because here's the thing: if it's you go on this one journey where it's all of them, then you can only play as one of them. And then it's like the other ones will feel like less valued. The thing is that they're all extremely significant to the story when you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. It makes sense that
Yeah.
they each have to go on their own separate journey. And then they're like, well, I guess to show their bond, we'll just show flashbacks. I feel like this is actually the only way they could have done it.
Mm.
I think there could have been more worlds in which they actually like meet up and have
Oh, yeah.
conversations. Because the
They-
handful
they're
of
like-
times
they're
they
like, "Hi,
do, they're
bye."
super brief.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
super brief.
Hi.
However-
darkness. Bye.
I will give Birth by Sleep bonus points for being the only game that features the world Neverland, where you actually go to fucking Neverland.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
It's true.
No,
It's
wait.
true.
No.
Oh, no, you
358 over 2 days.
358.
No,
yeah.
that wasn't Neverland. That was just a random ass island.
It was Neverland.
It's skies of Neverland. It's the
It's
sea of
kinda
It's the
Neverland.
sorta.
planet of Neverland.
Ooh,
Neverland,
there
Never
we go.
Planet.
Close enough.
The idea that the entirety of Peter Pan takes place on one world is completely counterintuitive to the entire point of Peter Pan.
You know, I really feel like that's where it went downhill with the Peter Pan story.
Right? How can they go to Neverland if Neverland is also the same world? Isn't it supposed to be something completely different?
How do you fly there?
How do you fly there if it's the same
Oh god,
place?
that laugh peaked. My one other complaint about Kingdom Hearts 2, aside from the fact that some of the bosses are just god unbalanced, and this came up when I was playing through it again, and it's part of the reason why partway through my playthrough I had to take a break, is that it is so very much it was so very much designed as a portable game that you would pick up and put down, that when you play through it in a quicker session like I was doing, it starts to feel a whole lot more repetitive because, yes, they're 3 separate stories and they're 3 separate ways they're each going through the worlds, but you're also still going to the same worlds in a design sense, and it just starts to wear on you after a while. And what I really like about sort of the back half of the game is that it does... Well, actually, no. I'm thinking of something else. I'll talk about this when we get to... No, I'll talk about it now. One of the things I really like about Dream Drop Distance is that in the late game, Riku and Sora's maps start completely diverging, so you're not playing through the same places every time.
Well, no, they
I'd say
do that in Birth by Sleep. Like, as Terra, you can't be Smol in the Cinderella world.
Yeah. Like they have small divergences, but it wasn't really enough for me to not kind of feel like I was going through the paces a little bit.
Well,
like I said, it's not terrible, and part of that is the fact that, you're playing through it in one long session, all 3 storylines, instead of breaking it up, like, is sort of the intent to play, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you do go, like,
just
through
my
the
opinion.
worlds in, like, different orders, and then also you go through parts of the worlds in different orders depending on who you play. Like, sometimes, as Terra, what I like what they did with Terra is that Terra just always meets the bad guy right away, which is what they were doing with the whole darkness thing. And then with Ventus, he's just, like, he always meets, like, the like comic relief or like the smaller characters, and then Aqua always meets the princesses. I like that.
Okay, while we're talking about this, I want to talk about, I think people give Terra way too bad of a rap in terms of how gullible he is.
Yeah.
He only really helps 2, maybe 3 of the Disney villains, and he had no real reason to believe that Hook was a bad guy, and Maleficent really more tricked him, and
I need to watch that scene
Well, they both-
again because I feel like what did Maleficent say? Maleficent was like her heart's fucked, and he was like, and she was like, fix it, and he was like, okay, or maybe I remember it wrong.
well,
What I remember is that from what I remember, she sort of almost took control of Terra's body and forced him to use.
Well,
it.
what happened was she kind of baits him into going to where Aurora is, and Xehanort literally pretty much says that Maleficent does not have the power to make Terra do that. He did that by manipulating Terra's darkness. So it's Xehanort's fault that Terra did that. But at the same time, I don't really fault Terra for trusting Xehanort, because to us, yes, as the audience, Xehanort is obviously evil. But to Terra, he is the trusted friend of his master and a Keyblade master in his own right. Terra has no real reason not to listen to him.
Yeah, it just
I
that
just look over
character
that.
design. The character design doesn't do him any favors.
I mean, no,
Even
it's
still.
like,
Yeah,
whatever,
Terra,
I get it. They just trust him, whatever. But it's like, fucking, you look so evil.
No one who hunches over with their hands behind their backs and then smirks at people
Trust
is
me.
just
Darkness can only be channeled.
And that's what I love about Xehanort is that he's always the manipulator. He's the one who always pulls the strings. I have this weird theory that the timeline we're in Kingdom Hearts, because Xehanort can somehow learn how to time travel now, the timeline we're in with Kingdom Hearts is a different timeline, because the original timeline, like I said, Riku in the first game, he was supposed to be the Keyblade Master, but Xehanort changed it to where now Sora's the Keyblade Master, which follows along his plans. I don't know. It's too complex to talk about right now.
Also, shout out to Leonard Nimoy.
shout out to Leonard Nimoy.
It is so weird that both voice actors for Xehanort died within like a 1 month span of each other.
Oh, and don't forget, Luke Skywalker is what's his face?
Star
Master
Wars
Ericus.
v Star Trek.
Yeah, it is Luke Skywalker versus Mr. Spock.
Of course.
Also, I want to point out that in the KH3 trailers, young Ericus is voiced by Drake Bell.
It's a weird casting
Whoa.
choice. There are a lot of weird casting choices, though, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's-
Should have been Josh Peck.
Dude,
Just you wait.
what if young Xehanort was played by Josh?
Just wait. He's going. He'll be someone.
I mean, Xehanort did say in his reports that he thought of Ericus like a brother.
No!
Oh,
Ugly
No!
Oh yeah, and real quick, I wanted to bring up, so another problem with the gameplay is that D-Links kind of felt like they shouldn't just been in the game at all. Am I
I
wrong?
disagree, because they helped me out in a lot of situations because they heal you completely.
Yeah, well, that was it. That's like their only purpose.
They also give you different commands and different.
There's some of them are dumb.
thingies.
A lot of them
I
are
mean,
dumb.
yeah, some of them
yeah.
are. But you just
That's
you just
the
don't use
problem,
those
though, is
ones.
because I didn't use D-Links because they replaced all the commands I wanted to use with a bunch of random commands.
I
I will-
understand where they were going for. They were kind of trying to do something similar to summons, but of course the PSP didn't have the graphical capabilities to do summons, so essentially they gave you commands you couldn't do. I understand what they did. What I didn't like was the fact that you could level them up to get better commands, but outside of using the D-Links, leveling them up was useless.
I just use them as a last shot potion most of the time.
Exactly.
I didn't really use them for what they were meant
Like,
for.
oh yeah.
Speaking of-
What's up?
Speaking of summons, I realized we never talked about the most important summon, Chicken Little.
Of course.
Still voiced by Zach Braff.
Damn.
I was amazed by how much usage he got in like the KH2 speedrun I watched. Like he is the MVP of a lot of those worlds because he basically just has a free magnet effect that lasts forever.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's crazy. They used Stitch like once. And
Chicken Little,
think they-
the last animated Disney movie I saw in theaters.
they never even
I'm
bothered
so
to use
sorry.
Peter Pan.
You ended off on the worst note.
Excuse you.
Seriously.
I ended off on the best one because it had that song in the credits.
I played the Chicken Little PS2 game when I was a kid.
Ooh. I don't even think I did that.
Disney's just like, fuck. Let's try to be DreamWorks. Let's see how that goes.
Well, that didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. Now DreamWorks is like, fuck, let's try to be Disney. Oh yeah, real quick, because we were talking about summons and stuff. Well, actually, it has nothing to do with summons. I love the drive forms in Kingdom Hearts 2. Real quick, back to Kingdom Hearts 2.
We didn't touch on that at all.
Are those going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3?
It looks like.
Sort of.
I hope
I
so.
don't know.
Holy shit, please.
So basically, it's kind of it's a whole part of like the situation commands thing from 0.2. We haven't seen too much about it. One thing I'm really excited for is they've shown that there's going to be like a limit form S thing called Second Form, which allows Sora to use his techniques from Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm really excited for that.
And
Okay.
there was a recent trailer where they showed it was called Rage Form, but it looked a lot like it looked and moved exactly like Anti Form, which was
I
Cool.
blocked Anti-Form out of my memory.
ha.
Yeah. God, dude, I only got it. I didn't get Anti-Form too much at inopportune points of boss fights.
I only
but
ever
ran
got it at opportune moments.
I remember.
I
ran
once got Anti Form during the Zigbar fight.
Exactly.
Fuck me.
I ran into it a lot when I was just trying to farm out levels for drive forms. I was like, son of a
Remember when,
bitch.
like, the first time it happens, you're like, whoa! And it's, like, super awesome. And now every
Clearly,
time it
this
happens,
is
you're
the
like,
best form in the game. No, it's not.
fuck! It's so aggravating every time it happens afterwards.
Hey, remember Birth by Sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Actually,
what else is
okay.
there really to talk about?
Another question I had was, if there was any Disney character you guys could pick to be a summon in Kingdom Hearts 3, which one would you want?
Would they have had to appear previously in Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Well, fuck. Wreck-It Ralph! Oh, wait.
I don't.
Uh?
I can't think of too many off the top of my head.
The reindeer from Frozen.
I would go with Kutsuko. Or
Cusco.
Kutsuko.
Oh,
Kutsuko. Shut up.
I want an entire
James,
Emperor's
James,
New
I'm
Groove
removing you.
world. I will,
James, I'm
Yeah,
removing
make
you
an
from this podcast.
Emperor's New Groove. You're what? You're
There's, like,
regretting it?
I'm removing you from this
okay.
podcast.
Long
no,
John
yeah.
Silver from Treasure Planet.
A world would be
Hey.
nice, but no. How about Krung? Let's get Patrick Warburton in Kingdom Hearts. At Cusco.
Shut up, James. I'm going to eat.
Oh fuck.
All right.
It gets no respect. Emperor's New Groove, no respect.
Yeah.
I can't really think of summons.
Like the only other really thing I can say about Birth by Sleep is, oh god, the voice acting in that game is sometimes
Yeah.
How dare?
like it is so weird because there are times when Jason
it is
Doring and
Super
times-
inconsistent.
there are times when Jason Doring and Willa Holland are doing really good jobs as Terra and Aqua, and there are times where they're
yeah.
so flat, and I feel like that has to be a direction issue more than it is a performance issue on their part.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
Hey.
I didn't think of that.
When they're
But you
good,
can always
they're
count
good.
on your.
It's
You
weird.
can always count on your boy Jesse McCarthy.
Of course,
Mhm.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, by the way, Aqua's best girl. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah, if Aqua is not fucking happy by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, I will fly to Japan and just smack Tetsuya Nomura across the back of his head.
They better get to go to Disney Town.
Aqua's
once.
only competition is Lorexine because every other girl is a child.
What did you say, Lorexine?
Larxine. Whatever, Cusco.
Oh, oh, the shoe's on the other foot now, James O'Byrne.
Fight.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, Birth by Sleep, good game. I think I fucked myself in terms of enjoying it.
I never did any of the post-game content because all I ever heard was negative things.
Okay, so I'll run you really quickly through the post-game content. You've got Vanitas Remnant, who basically he has 1 bar of health, but anytime you use Cure, Curaga, or Cura, he also heals himself to full. So you basically have to only heal yourselves with potions, and he hits like a truck and hits super fast. Young Master Xehanort, also known as a mysterious figure in that game, broken-ass combos, and if you don't have second chance and once more, he will kill you. Aside from that, in Final Mix, they also added Master the Armor, which is basically Ericus's armor, and No Heart, which was Xehanort back in his prime, which are apparently really difficult boss battles, and a fight with Monstro where you fight him outside, and then you go inside, and I think you fight a bunch of Heartless on the inside of him.
I never heard about Monstro. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about
Yeah,
he was the biggest epic boss battle in Birth by Sleep.
He was specifically added for Birth by Sleep Final Mix. But yeah, the mysterious figure in Birth by Sleep is probably, bar none, the hardest secret boss so far in the Kingdom Hearts series, and it's not because he's well designed, it's because he's, especially in the original release, he was just broken as hell.
It's the worst. It's the worst designed secret final boss in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
The entire franchise.
That's enough out of Birth by Sleep.
All right, here we go. It's time. Say it, Phil.
Say it. Come on.
Recoded?
The most useless game plot-wise in the entire series. Yes. And I say that as someone who loves this game.
I watched the ending cutscene. I'm all caught up.
Yep.
Phil, I linked you the whole movie, whatever, on YouTube. And I said, watch the first 7 minutes, skip 2. Do you have, like, the quote somewhere? Hold on.
Hang on.
Yeah, say it out loud for me. You say it.
You filled me in.
Hey-o.
Anyway, okay, James said, watch the first 7 minutes, then skip 2 hours of bullshit until 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 20 seconds and watch the Maleficent scene only. Then skip 30 minutes of bullshit until 2 hours, 37 minutes, 45 seconds, and then watch till the end.
Yeah. That whole thing, you get like half an hour, that's at most of stuff that's important. Like this, I think Nomura didn't even want to make this game.
I will never accept Kingdom Hearts Recoded's usage of hurt as a verb. Or is it a noun? I think it's a noun, actually. It uses it as a fucking noun where it's like, you have to save them from the hurt. Look at all the hurts. Hurt, it's not fucking plural, Kingdom Hearts.
At some point, it's going to be, are you saying heart or hurt?
Hurt. Hurt.
My hurt.
H-U-R-T.
Like, there was only one thing I will say positive. No, okay, well, 2, maybe 3 things I'll say positive. Sorry. You know me, my tolerance for bullshit is high. Okay. I like that it actually made Maleficent, A, relevant, and B, kind of a threat. I mean, after Agrabah, she fucking destroyed Datasaurus Keyblade. Like, oh my god, thank you, Maleficent. Yeah. I actually really liked who the big... Even though the plot is useless, I really liked who the big bad of the game turned out to be. The fact that it was fucking Sora's Heartless, that was kind of a cool twist. I just wish it wasn't attached to such a
shit story.
Not even a shit story. It's just, it is Chain of Memories again.
Yeah. Well,
only without the interesting bits.
358 over 2 days again. Like, even though, you play as Roxas in that one, it's just you're visiting these same goddamn worlds again.
Yeah.
Except Tarzan.
Yeah.
What is Tarzan?
He's like, this is a book that has all of our journeys on it. Just rips out the Tarzan page, except that one. We're
Nothing
not
happened here.
Nothing.
Like Sora's Heartless being the big bad, the one who was corrupting the journal, that was cool. And I do kind of like Data Roxas in the final world, even though I loathe the final world with every fiber of my being. That was neat, but no. Like, the only positive things I can say about Recoded is I really, really love the gameplay, and I love fucking love the keyholes in every world and how they just do this genre roulette. Like, Traverse Town turns into a side scroller, Wonderland turns into a rail shooter, Olympus Coliseum turns into a fucking turn-based RPG for the entirety of it. It's like, that is such cool shit to be doing, and it's attached to this game that has no reason to exist.
Yeah.
God, thanks, I hate it.
and you get none of that with the re-release. And what's worse is that the re-release has all these animated cutscenes for it, or like they made full CG cutscenes, and it's like, I think this game is when the dialogue is at its worst. Like, I don't know if you feel like you watch those cutscenes, maybe you didn't get it, you get a feel from it because you only watched like 25% or less of it, of all the cutscenes, but like, especially in Halloween and Hollow Bastion, like, they're just saying the same shit over again, like, because we're friends, aren't we? We're friends. I can't do my friends, blah, blah. It's like, fucking, we've been over this. And in fact, Kingdom Hearts 1 did this better. And you're just doing it again, but it's worse. Recoded is Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's
watered
worse. Down. It's watered down. Why would you play this game? Except for the secret shit you find at the end.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the game to pieces just because I really like the way it does sort of the combat in that based on which Keyblade you're using, and you can actually upgrade your Keyblades, you basically get these form changes at the end of combos, which I really, really liked that. And I love the genre roulette and the keyholes. It's attached to this watered-down retelling of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah. And I guess that's
they
it.
Get so much. Sorry. They get so much fucking mileage out of Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, even in fucking Dream Drop Distance, 10 years later, they're reusing the assets from Monstro.
I mean, they changed a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to Dream Drop.
Yeah, well.
Hey, speaking of Dream Drop,
I don't think it's given enough credit for that. Well, what's up? Yeah, we're doing that now because honestly, what was that section for Recoded? Like 5-10 minutes? Yeah, fuck it. That's all.
There's like nothing. There's
Paco, did you had something else you wanted to say about Coded?
Huh? I remember that I said to you guys that I think that's one of the ones I skipped altogether. So I don't have any opinions on the actual gameplay. I've just seen cutscenes.
I'll link you what I sent Phil, Paco, so you'll be
oh yeah, no, I imagine I saw the same thing. I think I have.
All right.
But even then, the plot relevance is at its bare minimum. I have played games after Coded. I feel like I've missed nothing.
For the most part, yeah. It's like the complete opposite of Chain of Memories because Chain of Memories, you're like, oh, I could skip this. No. It's a bad idea. This one, I could just link you what I linked Phil. Like, all you need is 30 minutes, and you know what happens. And even though they do a lot of... I think the reason why the gameplay, it changes up so much, like Ryan said with all the genre changes, they did that because they were like, this fucking sucks. No one's going to like this. Let's just do a bunch of crazy shit that'll make it interesting. So that's Recoded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so... this is a question I had. What is, just real quick, what is your guys' least favorite Kingdom Hearts game? State that definitively.
Well, because of the gameplay, 358 over 2 days, like it's not fun.
I'm gonna go with Chain of Memories.
Just from personal recollection, probably Days.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I rate Days and Coded very similarly, but Coded just has better, more interesting gameplay. Like, I can like the good plot of Days I can get from just watching the cutscenes. And then you take that out of Coded, and all you're left with is a bunch of bad cutscenes. So yeah,
exactly.
I'd definitely say,
yeah.
I think I stated my least favorite earlier was Days. Yeah.
Same
reasons. I don't like the mission structure.
Yeah.
Days' story carried it.
Oh yeah, the story in it is good. It's just I didn't feel the substance there was enough to actually get me through the actual story bits. At least not on my first playthrough, where I raged quit and didn't play it again for a few years.
Oh yeah, that's the other reason I don't like Days is the fact that about 75% of the game is padding, and then finally you start getting the plot in the last quarter.
Well, yeah.
All right, so now,
All right.
Dream Drop.
All right, let's do
real,
this.
The real worst game in the whole series.
James.
I've always
I do not
considered this
have-
game like to be in the perfect middle ground of all the games in terms of quality, because people are like, it's either people love to switch from like Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and Kingdom Hearts 1. They like to really like switch around in terms of what's like the second, third, or fourth best game.
I did not like this game very much.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
I was not a big fan of Dream Drop Distance.
I thought the gimmicks were too much, and I had a visceral, angry reaction to the revelation of time travel.
Shit.
I did not. I thought people already think the story's convoluted. People already think the story's confusing. And now we're having a time traveler from the past as our new antagonist. And I don't like any of it. That
Yeah,
being said,
the
I
best
think
way-
it looks fine and it plays fine.
The best way I can explain this, Paco, is Nomura.
Yeah, James. Yeah, James.
Was that
I
your
don't have-
Where are you
explanation?
going with
Your
this?
explanation
I
was
don't have an-
Nomura.
I don't have an explanation for it. Again,
Well,
Nomura planned a game in advance, and by the way, Recoded does not count. So he planned what? I'm just
It's
saying.
true.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
I thought you were disagreeing.
No.
During Birth by Sleep, he planned Dream Drop Distance. He did not plan Recoded. Again, I have a theory that he didn't want to fucking make that game at all. Whatever. So I guess he had time travel in mind for Birth by Sleep. And again, yeah, you can't do time travel with a story like this, especially when people are already like, it's confusing. Well, fuck you. Here's time travel then.
Yeah, this is nothing to do with what we're talking about, but yeah, that's how I roll. I was not enthused by Dream Drop Distance's gameplay at all. I didn't like the flow
I
motion.
love
I didn't
the
like
flow
the Dream
motion,
Eaters.
yeah.
I didn't like how the general game played at all. I beat the game in 13 hours because I just looked up what is the fastest way to beat Dream Drop Distance. Spam balloons, and I just did that the entire way through the game.
Inflate balloons.
Yeah.
I
Wait.
got as many balloon rows as I could as early as I could, and I just rushed through the entire.
And then you
Did-
found
did the
Balloon
bu-
Guh. And you're like,
Did the balloons even help make Young Master Xehanort a more palatable boss fight?
Oh yeah, I beat
Wow.
Young Master Xehanort in one try.
Wow.
Oh, and Dream Drop Distance is another one where I stopped playing about midway through, and I watched a playthrough of it online to get caught up.
I will.
maybe it's
I will
because I love Pokemon. That's why I like the. Dream
I mean,
Eaters.
I like
What were you-
Pokemon
what were you
too.
saying?
Yeah.
I will kind of defend the time travel aspect because I think I can't say for certain that Tetsuya Nomura was planning to have time travel from the
Yeah.
beginning. I mean, there's the fact that the time travel aspect is what explains the brown cloaked figure in Destiny Islands in the first game, but I don't know if it was planned. But a lot of things kind of do feel planned in retrospect, and I don't know if it's Tetsuya Nomura refitting things that were already there, or if he had it in mind. Like, especially the Recusant Sigil and how just so many characters have X-marked straps across their clothes. It's like, going back, that suddenly kind of makes sense, but it's like, is he retrofitting? But anyway, back to the time travel aspect. But going back to the time travel aspect, in the way time travel works in the Kingdom Hearts universe, and I'm not going to go into all the specifics, but essentially you can only go forward or backward within your own personal timeline, and you can't actually change anything, and you don't retain your memory. So on one hand, there's no reason for it to exist because it doesn't actually affect anything. But in the Kingdom Hearts series, there's this massive idea of destiny. I mean, the tagline to Birth by Sleep was Destiny leaves something to chance.
Destiny Islands.
Destiny Island. So there's this idea that they mention, I think near the end, that the reason that young Master Xehanort eventually goes on to do all of the things that Master Xehanort does is because due to the time travel, all of these actions are quote unquote engraved on his heart. And I feel like the time travel aspect kind of plays into that idea of predestination. And I'm going to go into some theory crafting because yes, Sora was not the person who was supposed to wield the Keyblade.
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, you went.
although the funny thing is that the reason he's able to wield it is because of Ventus's heart touching him, and because he was never supposed to wield the Keyblade, Sora ends up being kind of this wild card as far as destiny goes. I mean, Master Xehanort in this game even points out that he's an exceptionally unusual Keyblade wielder. So I think part of what may play into Kingdom Hearts 2 and why Xehanort specifically wanted Sora as his 13th vessel is that Sora basically exists as a massive cosmic wrench in all of Xehanort's in the destiny that Xehanort is trying to write himself.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you hear Ventus in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, and it's like, they never explain that voice until Birth by Sleep, so it's like, how far ahead was this actually planned?
But I will not disagree that introducing time travel this late...
If it had been introduced earlier, like, if they had... I want to say if they had planted the seeds, but like you said, they might have. It's not clear.
I would have liked it if it was like he changed the timeline by making Sora the Keyblade Master instead of Riku. I don't know.
Yeah, if they had planted that, if they had made it more obvious that there was time travel going on, aside from the fact that the young Master Xehanort bonus boss in Birth by Sleep had time travel built into his battle style.
Oh yeah, he did do that. I forgot.
Yeah, but that's in a bonus boss. I think it should have been introduced into the main plot earlier.
Okay.
I really feel like a lot of the stuff in Dream Drop Distance was just kind of repurposing stuff that they had never planned in the first place. Like with the brown cloak figure and Ventus talking to Sora, it's like
You think it's a matter of convenience?
Yeah,
Okay.
unlike Master Xehanort, who is now an invincible villain, I don't think Nomura could have planned that far ahead.
Well, again, because when he was making Dream Drop Distance, he knew the next game is Kingdom Hearts 3. So I think he was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta set up the Kingdom Hearts 3 premise. All right, it's time travel. There's 13 Xehanorts."
I think some of it is the idea that they have to raise the stakes. And I'll give them this: the stakes have been raised. I don't like where the stakes are at, but they've been raised all right.
I love that the yellow eyes are representative, and like they're actually like a really intense thing. Like everyone freaked out when Aqua got Norded. I was like, I didn't expect that from Kingdom Hearts.
that was a neat thing. I'll admit that.
Yeah, gameplay wise, it does suffer. It suffers from a lot of the same things Birth by Sleep does, in that it's like a few overpowered commands, and the bosses don't fucking stun lock. Like, you can be like back in Kingdom Hearts 2, there was, I think, this thing called a revenge counter where as you attacked bosses, like this unseen counter would build up, and once you maxed it out, they would counterattack, so you had to be very careful. In Birth by Sleep, I don't think Coded had enough humanoid enemies, and Dream Drop Distance, that's not there. So there are times when you can sort of stun lock some of the humanoid bosses, but most of the time they're just unstunnable out of all of their combos, and it just, especially for Master Xehanort, if you aren't using broken commands, it makes young Master Xehanort just, oh my god, I hate that boss so much.
Nomura was like, hey, what if we made a boss where he just randomly teleports out of your combos, and that's how Vanitas was born.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's like, I forgot again.
Yeah, James. Yeah.
Well, this is another one where I'm not going to have a whole lot to say because I haven't completed this one. So, almost all of my gripes are story based. It's I think the convolutedness just got to a point that I personally think is a little obnoxious. So after this, I haven't touched any Kingdom Hearts lore. I haven't paid attention to.
There hasn't been any since, but
there's that mobile game that is absolutely canon.
Why is it canon?
You know,
I'll talk about.
and we'll get there when we get there. But like,
yeah.
it's also like I've admittedly not been excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I know that's weird to say this late into the
Why are you
podcast.
here?
It's super late into the podcast to be saying this, but that's only because if the plot is going the same route that Dream Drop Distance went, I don't know I'm going to like it.
Well, no, this is apparently the end of the Xehanort arc, which is like, well, then what the fuck are you going to bring up in this game that makes a new arc? Why can't it just end?
Yeah, they've said that they're still going to be making Kingdom Hearts games with Sora as the protagonist. I'm like, just let my boy rest.
I don't know. Wait, have they said that Sora will still be the protagonist?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That's a bad move. Just let it be over. Just have an ending. Then people will be like, man, that was a really fun franchise. Why can't we just have it be that?
He needs a nap.
but
he needs a birth by sleep.
what I like about all these handheld games is that the reason why they had all these like multiple different kinds of gameplay is because they wanted to take the best parts of them and integrate them all into Kingdom Hearts 3, which is why we got the 0.2 thing, which I guess we're going to talk about next. And you see all the best parts of those games, the handheld games, put into Kingdom Hearts 3 along with Kingdom Hearts 2 Great Combat, and I thought that was a really good idea.
Paco, are you going to be picking up Kingdom Hearts 3 on release day?
If I have enough money at the time, I might. But it's not something that I'm going to be pre-ordering just because I am very hesitant.
All right. Well, because I was going to say, I probably should have mentioned this like 2 hours earlier, but I want, after we all beat Kingdom Hearts 3, I want to reconvene and do like a podcast about that.
Okay.
So
that'd probably be
maybe that'll come out at some point. But don't hold me to it if it doesn't, because I never said it would. Anyway.
All depends on if we beat the game.
I will say, Paco.
Okay, if that podcast never comes out, go harass Paco on Twitter and tell him to beat Kingdom Hearts 3.
Bold of you to assume I'm the only one. Okay, maybe. We'll see.
I will say, Paco, if you can power through a good chunk of Dream Drop Distance, get to the Fantasia world.
Yeah, the Fantasia world was good.
I don't remember when I stopped playing, so I'll have to find out when because I played Dream Drop Distance on the 3DS when it came out, so I haven't actually played the re-release.
Yeah. The re-release is okay. There's some things, especially regarding the Dream Eater training, that don't really work because they try to use the PlayStation 4 touchpad for it, and it's just like, no, this isn't really kind of working. But plus, because you can't tap the bottom screen to activate Reality Shift, you have to press triangle and circle to activate it, which means that there's a good chance that you'll also activate a command, which... But aside from that, it looks and plays really good. It's kind of Uncanny Valley-ish to see the upscaled low-res models moving at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's the most Uncanny Valley. Fucking the grid. Ugh. Tron world.
I assume that's the Tron world. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually was going to bring up that I kind of like what they did with Tron. Maybe not the world itself, but the character, because it's not super common in Kingdom Hearts, at least from my recollection, that you revisit a world and a character that was once a good guy is now an antagonist. I like that. And I like how Sora had a little bit of a character moment with that. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
I still don't get what the deal with the grid was, because when you're playing it as Sora, young Xehanort comes out and he's like, you don't get it. This is a simulation. A simulation can't dream.
You're damn right I don't get it, Xehanort.
Stupid.
If I remember correctly, and this is one of those weird, crazy metaphysical Kingdom Hearts things, the version of the Tron world that is the grid in Dream Drop Distance is a different server or different iteration of that world than whatever was in the Hollow Bastion computer.
Right, because that was a copy.
Yeah, and Rinsler as Tron recognizing Sora there after you beat the shit out of him is just like resonance across the two Trons, I guess.
Because their friendship is so deep.
Okay.
Although Tron hugging Sora and saying goodbye, that was pretty sad in Kingdom Hearts 2. Anyway.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything more they want to say about Dream Drop Distance?
No.
God damn, is this the gayest of the Kingdom Hearts games?
Oh yeah.
Like fucking Riku diving into Sora's heart to save him. Oh yeah.
I love that part where you're fucking diving through Sora. Diving through the Soras.
All the Soras.
That part in Kingdom Hearts 1 where it was raining Soras finally has some relevance.
Yeah.
Thing. I forgot to mention, I think my audio, for some reason, I'm looking at the wavelength. I don't think it caught me saying one more thing. Whatever.
Okay.
I did not like that sometimes when you're in the world, you can just like, oops, sleep time, and then you're playing as a different character.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought
there was
that
a way
was
to
a little.
exploit that.
I know there is a way to
better.
exploit it.
Yeah.
The Drop Me Nuts, you get so many of those
Yeah.
that I never show it with the drop system.
Again,
And
I like that they give you actual player choice, and it's like if you don't like this bullshit mechanic, just get these drop me nuts. Who cares?
And it's another one of those things that I think was sort of lip service to the fact that it was on a portable system. Like it's like built-in playtime meters or whatever.
Oh yeah, Dream Drop Distance, since this is the last appearance of this character before 3, I say I fucking love Zigbar's voice in English.
Zigbar is the best
He
fucking
is great.
character.
He
I
is
mean,
pretty
okay,
great.
not like the best. I no, he's my favorite. I just fucking I love him so much.
Yeah.
Because apparently Zigbar is not a very popular character in Japan, and he is way more popular over here because of his voice acting.
As if.
I love Zigbar.
He's great.
Zigbar is really cool. I think he got even cooler when it was revealed that basically he's Xehanort's second-hand man.
Yep. Oh, you know what? Here would have been a good thing. Maybe now we know, but favorite organization member.
Ooh, that's tough. It's kind of cheating because I consider him to be my favorite character in the franchise overall, but I have to say Roxas.
I don't know if that's cheating. He was a member. He was absolutely a member. That's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
top
counting.
13 organization 13 members.
I'm not counting Roxas because he sits at sort of an intersection between being an Organization 13 member and a protagonist. And
Okay.
oh well, no, the person I'm about to say does that too. But Axel.
Oh yeah.
For 3 reasons. One, just his character arc and the fact that he doesn't really. His turning to the side of good in Kingdom Hearts 2 has nothing to do with being a good person and everything to do with Roxas. Like
Absolutely.
it is a completely fucking selfish heel face turn, and I love it.
Right.
Or is it face heel turn? I don't know. 2, just a shout out to Days, and probably one of the best moments of voice acting in the series. That moment where Axel is confronting Xion just outside of the Twilight Town mansion. Like, holy shit.
Actually,
and
Axel's my favorite character, but Zigbar is my favorite like Organization 13 member.
And then just the hilarity of that moment in Dream Drop Distance where he summons his Keyblade and everyone else just flips out and Axel's just like, huh.
I would say
Give another person a Keyblade. Fuck it.
my favorite is probably Sykes, if only because I am a big old Kirk Thornton fan, and he does great as that character. He does great.
I will say, if I don't count Roxas, I'm a big fan of Larxene.
She is so amazing.
I love her. I love how much of a bitch she is.
I feel like in
You
general
wanted to step on you.
I feel like for some reason the Chains organization members don't get a whole lot of love.
Yeah,
I think
I'm hoping
with
because,
I think a lot of the actual ones on Riku's side of the story are super forgettable, like Lexeus.
Lexeus is super, super forgettable. Like, he's...
Lexeus and Zexion.
You just don't understand the deep depth of his heart. No.
like,
well, in turn, because a lot of those original, like, Alias and Ienzo and Evan and Dylan are all coming back as, like their real selves I'm hoping they get a decent amount of screen time in KH3.
I know that there's been a lot of stuff in sort of the pre-release that suggests that Zexian's probably going to have a decently big role, but I don't know about the rest of them.
Yeah, Ienzo has shown up in like a decent amount of the trailers, but we have seen like nothing of the others.
I think Zaldin is underrated because he is one of the only ones that actively meddled in the world he was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made an actual effort
elbowed in this. Yeah, elbowed in the fucking stomach by Bell.
Also, he has this really intimidating, deep British voice, and it's super cool.
Oh, and I need to say, Demix is extremely overhated and underappreciated.
I like Demix.
I love Demix.
I do like how Demix acknowledges just how much of a shit kid he is.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing, because he's one of those people that put on a fake personality, and then you see right before you fight him, in the final time you fight him, he just drops it and he's like, silence, traitor. Like that's who he really is, and I fucking love that they did that.
Yeah, the organization's just good.
They're just good villains.
Yeah.
Except Lexius.
For all like Kingdom Hearts. I don't know, I like Lexius. I like how he goes Super Saiyan in this data.
He does go Super Saiyan.
Angry man shouts at teenager.
Right? I think his weapon is simultaneously the goofiest and potentially the coolest. I don't know. It's just a big dumb sword. That's it.
For all of its downfalls, I do think it's pretty impressive that Kingdom Hearts managed to make such a large group of consistently likable villains.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the best villain group we've gotten in a video game ever.
Even if they're complete like fucking assholes like Vexen or Lurkseen, they're still likable.
They don't even have to be likable. It's like that's like a false god that your character has to be likable. Just make them interesting, make them compelling, make them entertaining, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Well, that is what I consider likable.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Even if I hate like Vexen, I still think he's like kind of interesting, and just like this whole thing they do with him, where he's like fourth in the organization, but nobody has any respect for him whatsoever.
He's a scientist. That is what he does. Yes.
So. Before we move on to 0.2, I wanted to just run through a few of these questions. So, out of all of them across the entire series, what would you guys say is your favorite world? I've already said it. No, James, did you miss the part where I said across the entire series?
0.2?
You mean just the entirety of 0.2?
Is his favorite world?
Fuck
I mean, I really like what they did with that, but no. Guess my favorite world would be Agrabah, the third visit.
I really like. I've already said this. I'm a really big fan of Pride Lands in KH2.
And I think this is partially because it was one of my favorite movies growing up. I love the Fantasia world. I love the aesthetics of it. And I really, really love, even though it's kind of weird to your ears, how they replace all of the combat noises and everything with like musical instrumental stings. I think that is so brilliant.
Yeah, Fantasia was cool. I'm also a big fan of the aesthetic in A Timeless River.
That's a good one. I am currently like I want it's between two of the worlds and two for me. I really like that Twilight Town. I think it's Twilight Town. I think of the worlds, it is one of the more. It feels lived in. I think we mentioned this way earlier. It feels like a town, feels like a world, feels like people are there. I like all the places you go to in it. The searching for mysteries is one of my favorite parts of that game, and it's like not very long. The other would probably be Hollow Bastion / Radiant Garden in 2 as well. And that is primarily because of the final mix edition of the Cavern of Remembrance.
Yeah.
I think that is probably one of the best levels in the entire series, and it's all post-game content.
Yeah, like, what I love what they did is, in Hollow Bastion, like Cavern of Remembrance, It's very like it's very dungeon like. It's very maze like. It's there's a lot of like weird pipes and stuff going around. It's like the design of it, like the infrastructure, the whoever made this was like a psychopath. But then my other favorite world is the complete opposite of what they did, and that's the world that never was. Everything's very
That's a good one.
Everything's very right angles, very sharp edges, very square shapes. It's organized, and especially when you go into the world that never was castle thing, it's everything's flat. Everything feels like it had a good fucking architect. I don't know. When you go through everything, it's very organized, which like it shows like the parallel difference between the nobodies and like the heartless. I think that was on purpose. I like it.
Yeah. I guess one amendment to all this. In Kingdom Hearts 1, going to Hollow Bastion was such a memorable, amazing experience that the actual final dungeon was never going to live up to that. So I'm really glad that the sort of I guess the Hollow Bastion of 2 is really just the world that never was, which is the actual final dungeon, like the actual final world, and I hope that they continue that with 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But another thing I wanted to ask, what is your guys' least favorite world?
I mean, it's easy to say. Atlantica!
I fucking detest Deep Jungle in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Well,
I hate that world.
They heard you, and so it never shows up in the canon.
Good! That world sucks. It's so... Kingdom Hearts 1 is an obtuse game. Deep Jungle is like the epitome of
It's the
that.
most platformy of all the worlds.
And
It's
they
the
also
most
don't tell you what
platformy.
to do or where to
And
go.
you have to you just wander around waiting for the next story cutscene with no real direction of where you're supposed to go.
There's this bullshit part where like you have to go to an area twice for a thing to initiate. It's like no, you have to visit. You have to go there. It's not like you go there once and you do something. No, you just go there to be there. Then you leave, and if you come back, then the story progresses. That's bullshit. You're right.
Yeah.
Deep Jungle is terrible.
There's a part where they're like, "Go to the monkeys," and I'm like, "Okay," and then it's like, "What do I do, Tarzan? Where do I go?" He won't tell me. I have to find the monkeys myself.
Well, duh, the monkeys would be in the trees.
Oh, of course.
I would say my least favorite world is the Cinderella one from Birth by Sleep. At least most of the not is okay. I said not. I was trying to say not including Ventus, but I kept wanting to call him Roxas, so and my brain was kept autocorrecting. Roxas. Yeah, no. I think Aqua and Terra's version of the Cinderella's thing is just so bland and forgettable. There's nothing there. It's
interesting.
There's a little bit outside. There's a castle. That's it.
I mean,
Terra's boss there is cool though. The frickin' conductor on Versed.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Ventus fights a cat.
He does fight a cat. I can't hate on the Ventus version of that because he's a tiny little man running around just with rats, and this didn't happen to anybody else for some reason.
Ventus has slayed more pussy than any other Kingdom Hearts character.
Hey,
James, you are canceled.
Oh.
I think my least favorite world is Port Royal.
Really?
Yeah, I just the boat travel to and from the different areas, I never really liked that. I don't like fighting the zombie pirates at all with how you have to have to use fire magic on them or get them into the light.
Well, you have to get them into the light.
You have to get them into the light. And just I'm so glad that bringing it back in Kingdom Hearts 3, they found a better way to meld the aesthetics. Because, oh boy.
And they actually got a guy who sounds somewhat like Johnny Depp, unlike the first.
I don't know. A lot of people don't don't like James Arnold Taylor's voice for Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything like Johnny Depp.
The weird thing is James Arnold Taylor is a really go-to guy for impressions of people. Not necessarily because he sounds like them, but he gets their vocal patterns down, and I feel like the impressions are like like a two there's two components to it. So I don't know. I mean, he seems like a cool guy, but I think he was an odd choice for Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
What about you, James?
Arnold Taylor?
Hey.
No. What is your least favorite world?
Well, it's super easy to pick these, but like, you know, it's Kingdom Hearts 2, Atlantica, anytime you go to the 100 Acre Woods.
Oh, what? I like the 100 Acre Woods.
Yeah, but
Pick an actual world.
Pick a real world, James.
okay, then it'd be the ones where they transform Sora and Donald and Goofy and then limit a bunch of your abilities. So that would be Atlantica, Kingdom Hearts 1, and Pride Lands in Kingdom Hearts 2. Atlantica World 1, you can't summon, you just swim around, you smack your Keyblade around, the controls are awful. Kingdom Hearts 2, you can't summon, you can't use your drive forms, you can't use your limit forms unless you're using a limit form with Simba. Why do they think this was a good idea?
You can't block either.
You can't block. This seems like a lot of effort for this one world that could have been put into somewhere else. I don't know. And like I said, the whole story progression of go to Oasis, come back, go to Oasis, come back, both times. It's dumb.
What's weird is both Pride Lands and Atlantica are optional. I don't know if anyone knows that.
They did that on purpose because they were
super weird. It's when I first played those games, I for some reason decided I'm gonna go to the world that never was first, and then afterwards I'll just go around and complete those. Game over. Oops, I messed up. And I didn't complete those two worlds my first playthrough of the game.
Yeah, Atlantica is completely optional. I don't think you have to completely finish Olympus Coliseum to beat the game.
I think that's been the case in most of the games, except for I think Birth by Sleep.
Well, I mean, you don't have to do the second visit to Olympus Coliseum. Like, finish all the stuff with Aaron. What the frick is his name? Orin. Yeah. You don't have to finish stuff with Orin. Cool party member, though. Never played Final Fantasy X. So
he's the best character in Final Fantasy X.
I really like the part where Hades was all like, "I'm the Lord of the Dead," and Orin was like, "No wonder nobody wants to die."
Damn,
it's like
Orin's so cool.
Damn.
Shout out to us being well over 2 hours into the podcast, and this is the first time we've even mentioned a Final Fantasy character.
Yeah, I remembered I wanted to bring that up because
well, they're not significant.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they did that. I'm glad. Here's the thing: everything that's central around the story are characters based on Kingdom Hearts. They originated from Kingdom Hearts. The Final Fantasy and the Disney are separated enough where if you take them out, then it's still its own thing. That was a good idea.
Yeah, and I think Tetsuya Nomura suggested that we'll probably be seeing very, very little of the Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3, just because his wording was something along the lines of, like, they were in Kingdom Hearts 1 and to a lesser extent Kingdom Hearts 2, kind of as draws for the Final Fantasy crowd, but now that Kingdom Hearts is basically standing on its own as a franchise, they don't have to be there anymore.
Well, I hope... It's probably not going to happen. I hope we get one last match with Sephiroth.
Same.
That'd be cool.
No, they'll do it. They'll do it.
I hope so.
They know.
I don't know. There's just been such a reduced emphasis on Final Fantasy characters at this point.
It's a staple. They'll do it.
They weren't even in Dream Drop Distance. Oh no, the World Ends With You characters don't count.
Yeah,
that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Final Fantasy characters were not in Dream Drop Distance at all.
I don't think they were in Birth by Sleep either.
Zach,
I completely forgot about Zach.
Yeah, Zach's in Olympus Coliseum, and we were originally going to see, I think, Young Squall, but I think Tetsuya Nomura was just like, no, that'll stuff the game too much.
That'll stuff Kingdom Hearts too much.
I think they were planning to have Squall and Cloud in Radiant Garden.
Yeah.
But yeah. So 0.2.
0.2.
Fragmentary Passage.
I mean,
full title: Kingdom Hearts 0.2, Birth by Sleep, a Fragmentary Passage.
I don't think there's much to say. It's just, like I said before, it takes all the best stuff they took from previous games and put it all together with Kingdom Hearts 2 combat. And, there's stuff that happens in the game. It kind of retcons some things that happened in Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, Riku just didn't see Aqua as he was running by, but whatever.
Yeah. I like it just because it's essentially a demo for Kingdom Hearts 3, but instead of chopping out a chunk of Kingdom Hearts 3 and making it playable, they just gave you a bit more backstory on shit. I really liked that. And god damn is like Thundaja pretty.
It's another one that earlier I said I haven't touched any lore after Dream Drop Distance. Not true. I did play like a decent chunk of this. It's another one I didn't complete though. Not because I didn't like it. I think it plays well. It looks well. I got stuck on a puzzle with a whole bunch of pillars, and I got really upset. And then I just didn't go back to it. I for some reason just didn't look up a walkthrough, or I was too deep into the puzzle for the walkthrough to be of any help. So I don't know. It was.
You seem to give up on these games really easily.
What? Not. No. I got a decent chunk into Dream Drop Distance. It was a decent enough chunk to make me go, I don't like this game. This one I meant to go back to. I just didn't, because I'm kind of a little burnt out on the Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and
it's like a 2-hour game.
Yeah.
It's not very long. You can.
I don't have an excuse aside from I got lazy.
It's 2 hours, $60, please.
And I do like how I guess either they had more studio time for the 5 lines or whatever, or because they were better directed. I do like how much more comfortable Willa Holland and Jason Dohring both sound as Aqua and Terra.
Well, yeah.
Dude, I really hope Terra Xehanort gets a lot of screen time in Kingdom Hearts 3. I love how hammy Richard Linklater's performance is.
Yes.
It's so goddamn good.
Mm.
And it was great seeing him again in 0.2.
Yeah.
I feel like because this is the shortest, there's probably the least amount of things we can say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like everything that they're doing with the combat.
The particle effects were neat.
Yeah.
I'm concerned because this is kind of setting up for what I'm afraid of in Kingdom Hearts 3, where from what I've seen in the trailers and from what I've played in the demo, I'm afraid that they're setting this game out to be really flashy and like all these cinematic animations going off all the time at the expense of actual like depth to the gameplay. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 felt good because it was simple. You know, Sora's melee combos and his spells and everything, they weren't like super flashing and screen clearing. They were just, they were simple enough. They got the job done. They did what you expected them to do. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's just like he's like flailing his attacks all over the place. Like he's not even aiming at the enemy. It just, I don't know, it doesn't feel good.
From what I've heard, the only thing that really doesn't feel good, the only thing that sort of breaks the momentum of combat is the attraction flow, like the rocking ship, the teacups, that sort of thing. And I don't know how that comes into play, but from what I've heard from certain sources, that's really the only part of combat that really, really sort of breaks the kind of nice flow that they have going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. I liked what I played of the demo. I feel like Aqua definitely played pretty good, and she didn't suffer too much from that problem just because her attacks were kind of simplistic. She had like basic magic and
pretty well
regular attacks and spell weaver. That was about it. But well, I guess we'll see.
Well, and I like that they still try to make her own thing in terms of the combat, because from what you saw with the trailers, Sora's going to play a lot differently. So I'm glad they did that, because I was like, I don't know if I like doing this when playing as Sora. If I was like, if this is how Sora's going to play, I don't know. But from what I've seen, that's not going to be the case, so I'm glad.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I know I will like Kingdom Hearts 3. I want it to be as good as Kingdom Hearts 2 or as Birth by Sleep. So I'm hoping they've taken what they've learned from all these past games, and they made the best game that they can. The ring-like flow motion and shot locks and sort of the basic gameplay ideas from Kingdom Hearts 2, so I guess we'll see.
We shall
see.
We will. And, okay. I guess all that's really left to talk about is, well, before we move on to Union and whatever, I just want to ask real quick. I don't think I've already asked this. If I have, stop me. Who are your guys' favorite overall characters in this series?
Riku.
We kind of answered that. I don't know.
Whatever organization members, but like overall.
I said it was like I said it was like Zigbar and Axel.
Yeah, overall Riku, I really like how in essence he kind of ended up becoming the main protagonist of Dream Drop Distance, and it's this culmination of this character arc that's been going on since Kingdom Hearts 1, where he was basically a villain in Kingdom Hearts 1 because he fell to the darkness and was corrupted by Ansem, and then his entire playthrough in Chain of Memories is trying to escape from the specter of Ansem. Then Kingdom Hearts 2, there's all these moments where Sora almost meets up with him, but he never does because Riku's staying away because he looks like Ansem and he's just feels like he's been too corrupted by the darkness to see his friend again. And of course he gets back to looking like a, normal teenager by the end of that game. And then essentially, yeah. And then by Dream Drop Distance, like his fighting style is legit that he has figured out a way more than any other Keyblade wielder in history to wield both light and dark equally without letting the darkness consume him, and that's probably part of the reason why Jensen made him a master and didn't make Sora a master. But basically him becoming a master in Dream Drop Distance is just this huge validation for this character who's been doubting himself for like several games, and it's just such a great moment, and I love Riku so much. And if anything happens to him in 3, I'm gonna fly over to Japan, find Tetsuya Nomura, and whack him across the back of the head.
Honestly, if no major character dies, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed.
I will say that, did I forget where I was going with this?
Essentially,
I think I did.
Well, okay, well, Ryan, real quick, everything you were saying about Riku, what his whole arc they go through throughout all the games, and he ends up becoming the master. Again, yeah, you're right. It's amazing how they did that because that's what he was supposed to be. But instead of it just being handed to him, literally by the universe itself at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1,
Terra.
It was taken from him. Well, yeah, and Terra. It was taken from him, similar to what went through with Terra, because Terra also wasn't promoted to master. It was taken from him, and he had to, therefore, earn it. While with Sora, even though it's not on Sora's fault at all, everything was just given to Sora. And that's not why he didn't become a master, it's because he was easily foretaken by darkness, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. So it's great.
And also, sorry, last thing here, and it's a bit of a tangent, but I like how each member of the modern Keyblade trio was basically touched by a member of the previous Keyblade trio, because you know what I mean, because Aqua basically passed the Keyblade on to Kairi, Terra passed it on to Riku. By accident. Terra intentionally passed it on to Riku, and Ventus also sort of by accident passed it on to... Did I say Ventus? Yeah, Ventus accidentally passed it on to Sora, so I like how there's that continuity between the two different generations of Keyblade wielders.
I'm sorry, the whole touching thing is kind of bullshit. Just touch a Keyblade master and
whatever.
The fucking Keyblade.
If
you fuck a Keyblade master, does that mean you're a Keyblade master?
As a little kid, seeing that moment, or like getting into the world it never was, and being able to team up with Riku and doing that awesome like limit attack, it felt so fucking great. Like I love that part. I love having Riku in your party, and his limit is awesome.
It kind of makes you wonder how the fuck they're able to do all this shit with the limit, but whatever.
Favorite overall for me is probably Ventus or Roxas. It's kind of a toss-up because their personalities aren't super different. But what they go through is...
Well, I don't know. I feel like Ventus is a lot more like cheerful than Roxas is.
I think I noticed
I
think I noticed while playing through the games that Jesse McCartney uses a slightly higher voice whenever he's voicing Ventus and a slightly deeper voice whenever he's voicing Roxas.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I love Roxas because he's, like, not afraid to kind of be a little bit of an asshole sometimes. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the entire series is in, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 or Days when Roxas is talking to Xemnas. He's like, "Who are you?" And Xemnas is like, "I'm what's left. Or maybe I'm all there ever was." And Roxas just goes, "I meant your name." It has that perfect tone of just like, "All right, asshole, you know what I meant." I love it. I love Roxas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play,
That got 50 years.
Roxas.
play a Jesse McCartney song over Phil shipping with Roxas.
What? I just like Roxas.
All right.
All right. Anybody you guys play the mobile game except Ryan?
No.
No.
Is there really much to Jesus. Is there really much to say? Just
Have you guys watched the movie?
I did not watch the movie. I have had its events explained to me. It does sound a little confusing, and that's probably just because I didn't watch it myself.
Honestly, the problem with the movie is that the movie is confused. The movie is basically what was going on in the background of the first arc of the mobile game, and it actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you haven't played through the mobile game.
Okay.
yeah,
Look,
exactly.
I'm guessing the only things that will be relevant in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be the Master, Lushu, and the box.
Probably.
Mushu?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mushu's the final boss in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah.
I knew there was something up with that.
Mushu
joke.
teams up with Pluto, and they become the ultimate life form.
Oh my god. But yeah, no. What I'll say about Kingdom Hearts Union Cross / Kingdom Hearts Unchained, like, it's, as far as mobile games go, it's not bad. At this point in the game's life cycle, with just the gems you start out with, you can probably, if you get lucky, pull a powerful enough medal that it basically just makes every single mission incredibly easy. I've got this Sephiroth medal that has a special attack that will murder every single thing in the game.
Do they explain how they can pull shit from the future?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That's why
also,
the
this
Keyblade
game
has an eyeball on it.
No, but I'm talking about the gems. Whatever.
Well, okay, so as far as the medals go, no. I mean, the medals are just, bullshit. But, like, I mean, the medals are gacha game bullshit.
Right.
The game does have an explanation for how Maleficent came back in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Really?
Oh! I can't believe I completely forgot to bring this up.
Because they thought of her name or whatever.
No, it's not!
Oh.
Can we talk about, in Birth by Sleep, how Minnie got so pissed off at Pete for being an asshole that she used her royal authority to make her guards banish him to the realm of darkness?
That's hardcore.
No, she
An
didn't.
infinite
The guards
realm-
didn't do that. She did.
Yeah.
An infinite realm of darkness where everything is trying to murder you all the time. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and Pete said, "Oh, Mickey fucking trapped me in that realm." I was like, "No, it was Minnie."
But
That is, like,
Minnie
extremely
is
fucked up.
stone cold.
cold.
Yeah.
But no.
Don't forget
So
about fucking the fruit ball. Everybody likes the fruit ball minigame.
okay. So here's the explanation, and it's the craziest fucking bit of Kingdom Hearts writing, and I kind of love it.
God.
So, when Riku stabbed Maleficent with the key to all hearts in Kingdom Hearts 1 to turn her into a dragon,
Oh no.
her heart became detached from her body, which, as you know, is how you can time travel. So she time traveled back. No. She time traveled back into the time period of Unchained. But when she did that, she ended up in the data replica of all these worlds that the Dandelions created, so that the Keyblade wielders wouldn't have to could relive the events leading up to the Keyblade War without actually reliving the Keyblade War. And because she was there and wasn't supposed to be there, the data worlds were like, fuck that, we're sending you back to the future, which resulted in her being revived in Kingdom Hearts 2. Feel completely free to ignore that happened,
Guys.
because it is so
Guys.
fucking ridiculous.
Guys, I don't think I like Kingdom Hearts anymore.
God,
This game is canon.
usually I can I can coherently explain stuff that happens in Kingdom Hearts, but then Ryan just went off the fucking deep end. I don't know what the hell is happening with Maleficent. Why wasn't it just the crow fucking brings the cloak, and they even reference it to the movie, you can't say her name, otherwise she comes back. I get it. No, just do this bullshit now.
I don't know. But yeah, no, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, like, my major complaint is because you can now get such overpowered medals so soon, like, it trivializes all the missions. And at this point, there's 800 of them. And there's so many free AP events that and you refill your energy every time you level up, so it's just like constantly doing the missions and there's no break like there normally would be in a mobile game because you run out of energy. But it's probably canon because all of the stuff in back cover. And then in the current arc, like, we've got Ventus as one of the Dandelions, we've got Marluxia's somebody, we've got Larxene's somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm halfway expecting, like, just every member of the organization who we don't already know can wield a Keyblade to show up in this game to explain why they can wield Keyblades.
Well, you never saw their human counterparts, so I can make sense why they did that. Like, you never...
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking the way it's going to be like this, I think it's okay if you never played Unchained. I think they're not...
Yeah.
I think when you're playing Kingdom Hearts 3, they're not going to be like, oh, you better know. I think they'll be
God,
like,
I
at
hope
worst,
so.
it's like, you should have seen back cover. Like, that's the worst it'll be.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that's why they included back cover on the two.
It was essentially all you needed to know from the first arc of the mobile game that was going to be relevant for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Fuck,
Like,
do you guys remember who Acid's voice actor was?
Who?
The big guy.
Travis Willingham, wasn't it?
The bear?
Yeah, I love his voice.
Yeah, it was Travis Willingham as Acid. It was Michael Jaston as, the young one. I can't remember his name.
Young ones.
Gula?
I think Gula. And then it was Robbie Damon as Lucio, and it was Ray Chase having the time of his goddamn life as the Master of Masters.
Actually, Lucio was voiced by Max Middleman.
Okay, Lucio was Max. Yeah, did I say Robbie Damon? Fuck me.
Yeah, it's Robbie Damon. Okay, so for James and Ryan, who do you guys think the traitor was?
I don't fucking care.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Who cares?
I care.
Okay, here's my theory. I don't think there was a traitor.
Yes, exactly.
I think the Master of Masters is just a fucking goddamn troll.
He just fucked with them because he wanted them to have discourse because that goes into his master plan.
Here's my theory. I think Gula, the guy who was supposed to track down the traitor, was the traitor. Because Master, he's a big fan of self-fulfilling prophecies. So, and the guy who's supposed to track down the traitor becoming the traitor just seems fitting. And also, it was really fucking... Okay, so there's a part where Acid is, like, fighting, I think it was...
Bearman?
Ava.
I don't know what's
Bearman,
happening. I forget.
Bearman was fighting Ava. She's, like, the fox woman. I think. Or he might have been fighting Envy. I don't fucking know.
He was fighting Envy. I think he was fighting Envy.
He was fighting Envy, and then Gula and Ava walks in, and Gula just immediately turns on Acid. He's smiling about it. It's just like, it's so fucking suspicious. So anyway, what I got from the movie was, I think that guy's the traitor. The Master of Masters is great, and Lucio will probably be somewhat relevant in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I've seen clips.
Yeah, because he showed up right at the beginning of Fragmentary Passage carrying the black box. Yeah, watching the end of Birth by Sleep.
I have seen clips of the Master of Masters. He does seem pretty fun. It is making me consider watching it, but we'll see.
I would say just like anytime the Master of Masters is around, watch it, and then you can skip the rest of it because Master of Masters is so great. Yeah,
you know what? That seems right. I think I would just show somebody the whole movie and just do what I did with Phil with Dream Recoded. Mm-hmm. Just watch these parts.
But then you miss Era, voiced by Matthew Mercer. I take it you're talking about Kingdom Hearts. Anyway.
I love that game. It gets super meta. Are we done?
I think so.
We've covered a lot.
Let's talk about the Kingdom Hearts fan movies.
Let's instead
run
talk
around
about
with Keyblades in their parking lots.
Let's instead talk about the Viz published Kingdom Hearts manga.
That did happen.
It did.
Oh, they're fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
they're pretty fun.
Larksine's death in that is wild.
Oh yeah, they have some pretty hardcore deaths in those.
What's her death in the manga?
They okay. They somehow do like a Trinity thing and turn her lightning on her, and she's like burns to a crisp or something. I remember it was messed up. I don't remember the exact details.
Tasty.
Ooh, stop. And then there's a scene where she steps on Sora, and he's like, "Oh,
Jesus Christ, James! I'm starting to think you want Larksine to step on you.
step on me."
Okay. I got a question for everyone. Who do you think the 13th member of the new organization is?
Us, the audience.
It's Aqua because she got Norded.
I think it's Shion.
It is us, the audience.
I think it's Shion as well. I don't actually think Aqua got Norded. There's this thing in the mobile game Mythos called a Darkling. It's basically what happens when a Keyblade wielder becomes a Heartless. And a lot of like the flares on Dark Aqua's costume are really similar to that. So I don't think she got Norded. I think she just got corrupted by the darkness, and we have to beat it out of her. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We'll see in about a week.
We will see.
I don't know. It feels like, I mean, they're gonna make Shion relevant again somehow. She's on the box art, and that just feels like a way for them to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Kingdom Hearts 2 had the best intro movie.
It's true.
So
I'm really excited to see the full intro movie for KH3, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like,
pretty nifty.
I love the preview.
Not that I've watched it, but it's pretty nifty.
I love the preview they posted. I haven't seen the full thing.
I almost want to say that I don't want to say it's my favorite part, but one of my favorite parts is just letting that intro movie play out. Just seeing all the fancy stuff. All the high budget CG.
So many good moments across Kingdom Hearts I wish we had brought up. I love the part in Chain of Memories where Riku's like, "You can't be me, I'm me." And Riku Replica is like, "I'm me," he says. The part in KH1 where Riku's like, "I control the Heartless now, Sora. Now I have nothing to fear." And Sora's just like, "You're stupid." And then in Days, when Riku calls Shion's Keyblade a sham, and Shion's like, "You're the real sham." And Riku just goes, "Fair enough." It's like, Riku's involved in all of these, I'm noticing. He's involved in all the just, like, weird, like, just fucking...
And then there's him waking up in Dream Drop Distance after saving Sora's ass, and just Sora's having a tea party with Groucho Marx glasses on.
Yeah.
Like, what? What?
And I love this stupid-ass series.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is. It is pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Gotta get that out of the way real quick. Yeah, so, if you made it this far, you're a champion. And I hope you enjoy Kingdom Hearts 3, and I hope we will too.
Mm-hmm.
So, we will see you, maybe, for our Kingdom Hearts 3 podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Be wary of spoilers, y'all.
Yeah. Goodbye for now.
See ya, fuckos.
3 hours.
Later.
3 hours in.